Theory creaking open, baby.
Yo, welcome to the screen where the plot gets bent. Julie B deep dives, not just for content. She don't react, she dissects those threads from the lens, catching clues y'all missed when the credits end. What you know about freeze framing frames and while you blinking, she building an evidence drum. Got a notebook bigger than the lore itself, and a chat full of nerds with a mental health shelf. Yeah, she sees the glitch, peep the double cross. You just watching TV, she talk to the boss. Every theory and thesis, no throwaway guess. While y'all on season 1, she in season X. Said rewind and slow it, zoom in enhance. Julie B caught the symbol in the window glance. While you tweeting what just happened like a clown, she already made a flow chart, color-coded breakdown.
They don't die like us, they don't vibe like us. They binge and they bounce, we revive that trust. They skip intros, we wear it frame. You watch shows, we decode the game. They don't die like us, nah, they don't die like us.
She cracked Severance before y'all knew it was deep. Predicted the Last of Us deaths in her sleep. When the camera pans, she ain't blinking once. Catch a ghost in the glass, call it theory punch. Watch parties lit like apocalypse nights. Call-ins while they bringing alien rights.
Hey, Julie, I think the trees are spies. Well, I have a spreadsheet that confirms that, guys.
Zoom in, boom in, she moving through clues. Spinning Discord in the courtrooms, Lord of views. Got mods with receipts. Time stands with heat. Every rewatch turns into a Reddit elite. You stuck on the surface, we beneath with maps. Cross-referencing lore with the rector's caps. If your fave show got secrets, don't be dumb. Julie got the chalkboard out in From's where it's from.
They don't dive like us, they don't vibe like us. They skim the edge, we inside that crust. They zone out, we zone in the pain. You say plot twist, we say nope, chain. They don't dive like us, nah, they don't dive like us.
What's that?
That ain't a blooper, that's a plot thread. You thought it was a shadow? She thought it was a coded message from season 3. And she's probably right. Step this way if your mind's unbent. Step that way if your theories pay rent. Say Julie B, deep dive queen. Now zoom, scroll, theorize, pull. Ain't no rabbit hole safe once she got the cloud.
They don't die like us.
Hey guys, I'm back. It is Julie B on location in Central Time Zone right now. So I got mixed up on the time right now. I'm currently not home. I am in Iowa, so I am mixed up on time zones. It's only an hour difference and I still get confused. So sorry for the confusion about the time, exactly when this was going to start. I think I made 2 different posts that were wrong about it, and I scheduled it wrong. And anyway, now it's finally starting. So some of the chat disappeared. What the heck? I don't know why this happens. There were a bunch of messages here that are just gone, and I didn't even reschedule it. Oh well. The first one I can see. So sorry if some of your messages are not here, but this is the first one that's here for me. Which is Scarlett randomly saying, I love eagerly and peace. I'm sure there was something else in context, but I don't know what else you guys were talking about. And she was saying, I was hoping to say hi in real time. Don't forget about me. Well, we haven't. Of course not. We haven't forgotten about Scarlett. But she's not on these Institute Lives with us. She just wanted to come on and say hi. But I know she wanted to go to bed by 1. So hi to Scarlett and Shadow Skulk. Hello, nice to see you. Your original message, as always, so lovely, disappeared. But hello, and I hope you're doing well. Doc, hey there. Nice to see you. I hope everyone is doing well. I took a week off. I didn't really intend to. I meant to do a live last week for the Institute, but there was just a lot going on, and I've been taking some time to myself that I really needed to. doing the grind of 3 lives per week, which I love to do. I needed a bit of a break for some self-care and some life events going on, and so I've just I wound up taking a whole week off and didn't even mean to. But I hope everyone's doing well, and it feels like it's been a long time since I've been here. But Carl and I are here to break down the finally of the Institute. We haven't forgotten about it. We're still going to break it down. Anyway, let's see what else were you guys talking about in the chat here before we got going. Bill Chill was here saying I need my goats and bells tonight. Well, I'll have to make do without some goats and bells, sadly. That's Scarlett's specialty. Let's see. Samuel was here. I hate when you buy produce and it's bad. You guys talk about random stuff when you're waiting, and I'm the one keeping you waiting. I'm just glad that you show up in the meantime and just talk. Spam the chat. That's awesome. Just talk about whatever you feel like. That's great. I appreciate it. And then you come back later when you can, which is awesome. And I appreciate that because I know I start crazy late sometimes. It's 1 a.m. here where I am right now. It's 1:05, which for me is not that crazy, but it's 2:05 a.m. on the East Coast. I realize that's ridiculously late for a lot of you guys. We're not going to make this a long one. This will be as short as I can manage it, being who I am. My goal is about 2 hours, so let's see if I can pull that off. Maybe 2.5 tops. We will see, but I appreciate anyone who did manage to show up and everyone on the replay who shows up. Thank you in advance for that. Shadow Skulk was here chatting with Scarlett. Let me scroll down a bit. And Samuel chatting with them. So Scarlett was asking about if anyone had seen episode 5 of Alien Earth. So I've not completely caught up with it. So I hope there aren't going to be spoilers here that I'm about to look at. No problem. No worries if there are. It's my own fault for not being caught up on Alien Earth right now. I am going to be covering the show. By the way, I haven't forgotten about that. I'm going to be covering it late, playing some catch up and covering at least I'll be able to cover the second half of the season. So we're 4 episodes in now 5 actually. It's only going to be an 8 episode season, but I'm going to jump on it while I can and start doing live streams for the rest of the season along with Carl. And so let me look through the chat here. Samuel said he liked it. Scarlett said I won't spoil it for anyone. Great. Oh, great. I'm relieved now because I don't want to get spoiled either. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing all right. What else? Let me just scroll down here. So Bill Chill said no sacrificial chickens tonight. And Doc said, I know, right? Where's Steven? Has anyone heard from him lately? Well, I saw him in the chat a couple days ago, actually. When I first posted this live, it was supposed to be scheduled for Saturday night. And Steve was in the chat along with Dieter. But then I rescheduled it to Sunday and rescheduled it again. And next thing you know, here we are. What the hell night is it? I think it's Tuesday. And so Steve was here, but maybe he's busy with life stuff. He takes care of his grandma. So we'll miss him. We will definitely miss him. And he wasn't here to summon me with the chickens tonight. So we'll have to blame Steven for my lateness, I guess. But I hope he's doing okay. And his grandma too. And Miss J. I saw Miss J in the chat earlier too, but those messages disappeared. But nice to see Miss J here. And Carl in the chat. Hey, Kelly. Nice to see you. And hey again to Doc. Yeah, Shadow Skulk's still here. Awesome. Scott. Hey, nice to see you, Scott. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. It's only midnight at Mountain Time. Oh, okay. Well, it's okay. It's not crazy late for everybody. And if you're on the West Coast, it's only midnight right now. So great. So it's not that bad. Um, mm, so it's not going to be our best live in terms of turnout, and I understand. We're going to get back on track. I promise. I'm going to be more reliable about doing my lives when I'm supposed to be doing them and not moving them multiple times. But got a lot going on in life right now. Sometimes real life stuff has to come before internet stuff, even though my channel is so important to me. So, but yeah, we're going to get back on track. Starting next week, it'll be a bit more normal. But we're still going to be doing a few less lives until I'm back home, which will be the week of, I'm going to be home on the 15th, which is going to be a Monday. So that week, I'll be getting more back to normal in terms of how many lives I do. I'll go back to doing 3 lives per week like I did before, which will be one for Alien Earth. I'm going to be doing those on Thursday nights I'm going to shoot for 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Thursday nights for Alien Earth until the season ends. And Friday nights will resume FROMacademy. We might resume it before I'm home, though. I've got to talk to Doc about this. So stay tuned on that. And then the other live will be when Doug is available. We're going to be doing special Storytime Book Club lives with Doug. Just as a reminder, that will be about Doug's first novel, which is unpublished, and you can only get it here free. Doug was kind enough to offer to distribute it for free through me and this channel. So anyone who wants a free PDF, if you haven't already gotten one from me, you can email me at JulieBDeepDives@gmail.com. I'll send you a copy, and you still have time because we're going to be breaking this into sections. So when we do our first live with Doug on that topic, we're only going to be covering the first 35 pages. So really easy to blow through that quickly. And I have to coordinate this with Doug, and I don't know if it's going to be final right now, but I'm thinking next week we'll start on Wednesday night. So stay tuned on that. But if you haven't gotten a copy yet and you haven't read it yet, you still have time. We'll do the first 35 pages and we'll talk about it with Doug as a call-in live stream. And you can bring your questions, your comments. You can call in and talk to him, or you can just write them in the chat. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's loosely based on his actual life as a theater performer traveling around Canada, but with a fictionalized twist where he's actually a spy working for the Canadian government as well. It's hilarious. I thoroughly have enjoyed it, and I'm sure if you love Doug's personality and his sense of humor, you're going to love this book because it's just him. It's basically him. The character, the protagonist is Doug. It's who he is. It's his personality. So anyway, and that's probably going to start next week, but stay tuned on that. That's not set in stone, and it also depends on Doug's schedule, which is subject to change with pretty short notice if, certain things come his way, certain work that might come his way. So anyway, let's get started. Let's get started with the episode. I'm going to pull up my pictures and let's see. I've got about 1,000 pictures, but we're not going to be here all night, I swear. I just did this to remind myself of everything that happened clearly enough so that I didn't need to spend hours taking notes. And we're going to keep this as short as I can. I've actually been able to stick with that these days. Even when I used to say I wasn't going to do it, I'd be on here for 8 hours, but it was time to stop that. Bill Chill, late night dives. Yes, late night live dives. It's basically us, indeed.
1,000 screenshots? Yeah, it will be a short one.
Yeah. 1,000 screenshots. So we better get started. So Let's see. Are we loading? Okay, so the episode starts with Luke watching as Sigsbee is put in handcuffs by why am I blanking on her name? What's her name again? The female cop. What the hell's her name?
I forgot.
You forget her
It's
name.
been so long.
Yeah. What the hell is her name? Wendy. It's Wendy. There we go. Yeah. So this was immediately after this event is taking place right after Sigsbee had told them exactly what they need the kids for, that they're using the kids to save the world. They've been doing it for 50 years at the Institute, and they've prevented Armageddon many times over by using these kids' energy, their psychic energy, and unfortunately they die in the process. So it's basically a long speech. And so Tim here is saying, I want to hear you give that long ass speech to the real FBI and see what they say. Yeah, like they're going to believe her. But sadly, we all know how this episode ended, and Sigsbee gets away. For now, it looked like she was screwed. Luke starts having an episode as Avery is trying to connect with him psychically. And doing it remotely, Luke is not used to it, and he's really dizzy. Avery has been rushed over to back half as of the penultimate episode, and it's now Sparkler Night. They're rushing him through the process really quickly. And now it's Sparkler Night, and he's already going to be leading it. He's never even participated in one, but they're making him lead it because apparently this is a really important keyhole. They didn't really explain why. I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they ever even explained why this particular keyhole seemed like it was so important that they had to rush this and make sure it got done. Like a huge deal. We got to have Avery lead it. And I don't know. I think that the writing leaves something to be desired with this show.
Did they ever truly explain what a keyhole was?
No.
What is a keyhole?
No, they didn't ever fully explain what a keyhole is. No. A keyhole, the way that I make sense of it is a keyhole is a short window of time when they have the opportunity to take over the body of a target using these kids' psychic powers. And once that window of time closes, that's it. So they, like, for example, okay, they knew this senator was going to be taking a plane in a certain location, and they'd have an opportunity to take the plane down. And so the keyhole was opening. That meant, okay, now we're getting this window of opportunity. The plane's in the air, and we have X amount of time before the plane
to take over lands. The pilot, right?
Right.
Okay.
And in this case, they had X amount of time where this car that this lady was driving was going to be driving around a cliff. And they knew this through their precognition kids, apparently. Somewhere they have kids who are precogs. So this lady that they wanted to take out was driving along a cliff with no guardrail. So their window of time, or their keyhole, would be when she's about to drive around the edge of the cliff, and the clock's ticking down. If they miss that keyhole, they miss their chance to kill her. Now, why can't they kill her some other way? I don't know. Can't they just take over someone else's body and poison her? I mean, so it's kind of
like when she's in the McDonald's drive-thru, and then have the guy, and then he puts in some poison, right?
Exactly. I don't understand. Like, it's very poorly. I've got to be careful with how I word this because I don't want to sound too harsh. But I do think there are an awful lot of plot holes in this story. And this
sounds so harsh right
now. This is me trying not to sound harsh, and I guess I'm succeeding. But I just think this story is full of plot holes, and this is one of them. Why was this their only opportunity to kill this woman who was driving around in the car? Okay, if they can take over people's bodies through these kids, then kill her another way. have somebody poison her. Yeah, like maybe she goes to McDonald's and she's about to eat. Have somebody poison her food. Done. So that's anyway.
I mean, you're saying more poison than what's already in McDonald's.
Yeah. Yes. Because that'll just kill you slowly over many years. Like they don't have that kind of time. So anyway, they bring Avery in, and I've got to just try really hard to suspend my disbelief, or I'll never get through this episode. Because if I hem and haw over every plot hole, we'll be here all night. And Avery is brought in, and they try to, get Avery ready for this. Like, these can be tough. This is Sparkler Night, and Avery they're all talking to each other in their heads telepathically at this point, which is a really cool plot device. I like that. Avery says, I know what this is. Luke explained it to me. And apparently, so Luke told Avery there aren't going to be any more Sparkler Nights because they're planning on taking this place down. Like, this is going to be the last one. That's awfully confident of them. But again, if I pick apart every bit of this, we'll be here forever. So yeah, he says that he's been talking to Luke, and it's only a little bit because he's sometimes hard to hear. He's not used to talking telepathically, and especially from this distance, it's really difficult. And then he tries to ask Luke if he's okay. Well, no, sorry, that's not them. It's not Avery. It's these people right here. So they're like, "What's wrong with him?" He's like spacey and dizzy. So the adults here are asking him if he's okay. And meanwhile, Hendrix gets everything going with the Sparkler Night and that announcement that Avery Dixon will be their conductor. He gets him up, this little kid, and the actor who plays Avery, Vigo Hanvelt, he told me during our interview that I believe he was 10 years old when he filmed this. So he was the only actual kid there. All the others were 18 or over, but they were playing like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, everybody else had a mortgage already.
Yeah, pretty much. The actor who plays Nicky sure looks like it. He looks like he's about 30, but Vigo said he was 10 years old, and if you haven't checked out my interview yet with him, it's the latest video, or at least I think it's the latest video on my channel. I interviewed Vigo Hanvelt, who plays Avery, and I also interviewed Jane Luke, who plays Maureen. Two excellent characters, and I absolutely loved interviewing them. They were both so gracious and just a joy to talk to. I was really grateful for the opportunity. So check those out if you haven't already. So this little guy, here he is being like ushered to his death by Dr. Hendrix, but he's lying, saying Avery gets to go home early. Lucky boy. It's just so sick. We all know he's not going home, or at least, none of these kids are supposed to be going home. It's just a bunch of lies. They kill these kids. And I never believed it from the beginning that they sent them home. It was pretty obvious that wasn't going to happen. And they say, "Thank you all for your cooperation," to the kids, as if they have a choice. Ridiculous. And then, he gets Avery all suited up with this thing on his head, and he's all covered in cuts. It's really sad, actually. I loved this character. He was my favorite character on the show. And his fate is just such a sad, tragic ending. But he tells him that, this is an easy job. Just drive the car off the road. Just drive the car off the road. Yeah, no big deal. Just take over this guy's body remotely. Drive the car off the road.
Does the
And
kid even know how to drive?
yeah, yeah. Kids don't even know how to drive, so how does he know how to take over the guy's body and drive? Plot hole, perhaps. He says it's just like falling off a bike. Okay. I don't see the analogy, but all right. Um, yeah. So we saw this didn't end well the last time it happened, so I was just bracing for something horrible. Because the last time we saw this, we saw what happens normally. It was Iris, and she just went into some kind of seizure and went brain dead, essentially. Um, so yeah, he puts the thing on the kid's head. Tony does, and for a second, Tony actually doesn't look happy about it, like a freak for a change. He looks like he almost regrets what he's doing, which is not really fitting with his character with everything we've seen this season, but be that as it may. Yeah, so they get this started, and so this is their keyhole like countdown, I guess. It looks like 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And they're watching via some kind of, I don't know what, satellite camera or something. They're watching the car where this woman is, and I don't know who she is. They never really said anything about her or why this needs to happen, but Avery gets control of the car, and now he's in the woman's body. And you can see the clock ticking down, and they see that like his connection to the woman is much stronger than normal, which was expected by Dr. Hendricks because Avery is so much more powerful than anyone else they've ever had. And so like they needed to, I think that this is why they needed to rush him through the process, because he's so powerful that they wouldn't have been able to control him. And as it turns out, he's so powerful that even with their rushing, it's still too late for them. He's so powerful that we'll see what happens in this episode. Because of him, the whole place gets taken down. So honestly, it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. You're bringing these kids in who have these unbelievable abilities, and eventually you're going to get one who's so powerful that they're going to overpower you. It's pretty obvious. Like, anyway, yeah, he's in the woman's body, and I guess who knows who she is. She's probably some kind of world leader or politician of some sort, and they think that she's going to cause Armageddon based on somebody's precog ability. So it's time to take her out. She's the next target. Avery's wishing that Luke was here, because Luke is the one who told him what to do. Like, they coordinated a plan telepathically. And he's still trying to connect with Luke, who's continuing to have an episode. And Luke manages to make contact, telling him what to do, saying that there are levers. So, because Avery doesn't really know what he's doing. He's younger than them. So he's like, just use the levers like I taught you. And Avery says that he sees them. And then he says, no more movie nights, no more sparkler nights. Remember when Luke said there would be a time to fight? So he's talking to all of them in their heads at once. So simultaneously, he's able to talk in their heads, which is really impressive, actually. So he's trying to get them all to combine their abilities. By holding hands, they can actually harness all their powers and be stronger together and take the place down. I'm surprised, if this place has been around for this many years, how is it possible that this is only the first time something like this has happened? That's wild to me that they've been able to get away with this for so long without the kids uniting and realizing what they can do together. But yeah, they all hold hands to get up. and they're ready to fight back. The title of the episode is Fight. And even these kids who we thought were completely brain dead and not usable in any way or useful, they're going to be of use too. Hendrik sees that there's something wrong, that the kids are somehow spiking early. So their vital signs or whatever he's measuring on his computer shows that they're spiking early, maybe like getting closer to getting gorked early. And Tony's about to tase them, but he stops him and says, "No, you'll break the connection. We're at keyhole." And the time on the time says 1 minute 46 seconds. So that's the keyhole right there. So this is their window of time they have to take this woman out. That's the way that I look at it. I don't know how else to explain what a keyhole is. But they never came out and explained it very clearly at all. So yeah, if they intervene and try to do anything to these kids now, they'll break the connection to this woman. But the thing of it is, I guess if they really believe that this woman was going to bring on the end of the world, then yeah, they can't risk breaking that connection, even if it means these kids could take them down right now. It's like, okay, what do you do? They're between a rock and a hard place. And they've got to just chance it that these kids are going to possibly do something crazy. They don't know what they're about to do, but they really do seem to believe that they're preventing the end of the world, that they're not just lying to everyone. Whether or not they're actually saving the world, I don't think that's 100% certainty. In the Institute book by Stephen King, it's actually not a certainty. Even the people in charge are not totally sure that they're really saving the world. They're not sure. They have doubts. So anyway, but these people believe it, so they don't intervene when the kids get up and hold hands. They light the sparklers per their usual protocol. And by the way, they never explained what the hell the sparklers are even for. Why are there sparklers? What is the point of the sparklers? I don't understand.
It's just nice, like at a barbecue, in the middle of the night. So maybe it's just for entertainment purposes.
Maybe it's just that I don't know. They look cool on screen. There's that. Luke talks to Avery in his head and says, now, just so then he says, just think of the sparklers. And Avery says to everybody in their heads, just think of the sparklers. Just think of the sparklers. Okay. Why is that helping? I'm not really sure.
Maybe a power boost?
Maybe it's a power boost.
Sparkle power.
Maybe that boosts their power if they all focus together on the sparklers. Since the sparklers seem to have some kind of role in these nights where they do these keyhole assassination targets. So maybe if they all think about it, it amplifies their power. That could be it.
Mm-hmm.
So the show should have explained that a little, I think. But at any rate, they all do it at the same time, and they all keep their hands held, and then these kids start waking up, which is really creepy because you see their eyes behind the masks pop open. It's like The Walking Dead. It's like the dead reawakening. It's really unsettling. And the lady who presides over that room sees them all waking up. And then meanwhile, the clock's still ticking down.
I think for her, things are going to get out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. She lost a couple of hands, legs, arms. Yeah. She didn't lose her head, at least, but she lost everything else. I think she was just a torso and a pile of limbs in the end. A torso and a head attached and a pile of limbs.
No, Shadow has a good take on what the sparkler is.
Oh,
When we check in on some of the comments.
let me take a look. Okay. Shadow Skulk. Shadow Skulk said, I think that the sparklers are a way to get their brain to focus, like flashing lights that cause seizures. Maybe the sparklers trigger the parts of their brain controlling their abilities. Yeah, I could see that. But that's a great idea. That's a really great explanation, and that makes sense to me. Please hit the like button. I forgot to say that. We've got 18 likes. Thank you, Scott. Please like, subscribe, share, and ring the notification bell. Thank you so much. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers right now. I think I'm at 1.94K right now. So all the subscribes definitely help. If you're not subscribed, but any of you guys who are listening, you probably already are. Anyway.
Tell your friends.
Yes, please. Doc said they should have had 10 episodes with Avery in back half, episode 8, Rebellion, episode 9, ending in the tunnel. Episode 10 picks up from the tunnel and wraps it all up. Yeah. Doc was reading the book at the same time that he was watching the show, in tandem with that, which is really smart. And so Doc's insights have been really helpful as we've been going through here, and he's been offering the insight as someone who's also reading the book. So yeah, I think the pacing of it was off, and Doc is absolutely right. Where they definitely should have had a 10 episode season, and spread it out a little bit more, make it feel a bit less rushed. I definitely agree with what Doc said here. Let me scroll up a little bit. Yeah, Bill Chill said, plot holes, keyholes, what's the difference? Yeah. Good one, Bill. Hi, Dieter. He said, hey, folks, just hopping in real quick to say hi. Well, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for hopping in. And yeah, Bill, harsh criticism. Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on the show. I don't want to do that. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, Scott. It is. Yeah, I think it needed 10 episodes, like Doc said. Hi, Diviner Zember. Shit, Donald's. Good. That's a good one. I never heard that, but yeah, McDonald's is like rot gut garbage. And Shadow Skulk, let's see. Well, okay, wait. First, Doc said the sparklers are employed as a focusing mechanism to amplify their collective telepathic and telekinetic powers. Okay, thank you for that. That makes sense to me. Shadow Skulk said, or the sparklers are like focused that can be used in meditation. If you're so focused on one spot to the point all thoughts drop away and you just go with the flow of it. That absolutely makes sense. Thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, like a focus. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, the kids are not responding the way they normally are. They're not getting triggered. And these guys are trying to figure out what's going on. Let's see. I wish I hadn't taken so many screenshots. God, it is a lot. And the kids in the bed start actually getting up out of bed. It's a really cool scene. I very much enjoyed the way that they did this. I have my criticisms of the show and how it was executed, but there was a lot I enjoyed about it too. They've got 11 seconds left, and the kids are not taking over the car like they're supposed to be. At least, Avery's not conducting them to do that. Then you see these really cool flashes of kids in other institutes who are also being rallied, which is a really cool twist that I was not expecting. So not only did they manage to unite all of them in this one place, but they actually connected to kids in institutes in other parts of the world and the country, which is really cool. You see these creepy shots of these groups of kids who look like zombies who've all united, and they're all kind of communicating with each other telepathically over great distances. That was awesome. Then you see these kids in another institute. They're sitting in a cafeteria. They're getting rallied too. I mean, it makes you wonder how many institutes there are. How many branches are there around the world? There are probably a lot. And they're all, he's getting them all to focus on the sparklers at the same time. Sorry, excuse me. And the keyhole is closed, and the car does not crash as it's supposed to do. So they botched the mission. Now the question is the world going to end now? Is Armageddon going to ensue because they didn't take out this woman? Well, this show got a second season now, so there's more they can build on. I think they ran out of source material. Doc, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but didn't they run out of source material now? As I understand it, they finished all the Stephen King source material from the book, The Institute, I think. And now they've been renewed for a season 2. So they're basically they're creating their own story at this point. They're expanding it. And so it'll be really interesting and kind of dicey to see if they can pull this off, because historically it has not gone very well when shows run out of source material and have to go it alone, or expand on something that was only supposed to be a limited series.
Wayward Pines, anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Last few seasons of Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Wayward Pines was supposed to be a limited series. They killed off their main character at the end of season 1. Then they renewed it for a season 2, and it crashed and burned. The fans hated it. It was terrible. What is it? Under the Dome was another Stephen King one, and that was a disaster. I mean, it went off a cliff once they ran out of source material. It was only supposed to be a limited series, but they renewed it for another season. And it made absolutely no sense. It made zero sense. It became a clusterfuck, frankly. So we'll see. Maybe they can pull this off. If Stephen King it continues to be involved, maybe. And they're going to have to explain it if the world doesn't come to an end, because they failed to take out this woman. It didn't work. They sabotaged the mission, so that'll be an interesting thing. And I will say this, that does open up really interesting possibilities for the next season, if they can pull it off, if they can manage to do it, because now we're going to have to deal with, okay, is the world really going to end? What are they going to do about this? And all the other branches of the institutes and the other parts of the world, is the word going to get out to the public about this, these secret institutes? And, now that some of these kids escaped, so there are a lot of questions that they can definitely explore in a future season, or more than one, possibly. Hendrix is freaking out because it was supposed to crash. And then you've got like some kids talking in Swahili. So they really have branches everywhere. And they're saying, who is this? And then there are voices speaking in Mandarin. There are some kids here saying, hello, where are you? And then these kids are talking in English, So I think, I don't know, maybe Great Britain, not Great Britain, but the UK. Nobody calls it Great Britain anymore, but and then all of the kids basically take over to the point where somehow even the electronics are failing. The screen starts going crazy. So even the Institute computers are, like the screen smashes and the building starts coming apart. Yeah. And like Hendrix finally tells Tony to stop them. And by the time he does it, though, the kids turn his taser against him, which I gotta say was incredibly satisfying. This guy has been an asshole, sadistic freak for the entire season, and I thoroughly enjoyed this scene because he really had it coming. He's abused these kids and enjoyed doing it too. He's tased them, he's zapped them with cattle prods, he's slapped Luke in the face, and he's enjoyed every bit of it. He's a sick fuck. So I really loved this scene. They took over the taser, and instead of getting tased, they made him eat the taser. Nikki's like, "Hey, Tony." He's like, what did he say? Like something about
You want to know what it tastes like?
yeah, yeah. Like ever wonder what it tastes like?
See what it tastes like.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he makes Tony eat the taser. He makes Tony eat the taser, and then he ends up bleeding out of his eyeballs, and which I'm pretty sure does not actually happen when you tase yourself in any location. But it certainly looked cool, I'll say that. And Tony, you will not be missed at all. Bye, Felicia. Not the actor. Differentiating between the actor and the character. I'm only referring to the character Tony. Tony sucks. We hate Tony. Anyway, so yeah, the kids snap out of it, and they all kind of check in with each other and make sure that they're okay. Avery gets right down to business and takes Tony's keys off of his belt, and says that Luke said that they're going to need more power. He tells Kalisha that. Luke tells Tim and the others here that we're going to get them out. Tim's asking Luke if he's okay. And yeah, he's like even with everything that's going on, you're still running missions to Sigsbee. She's like, well, saving the world, we can't exactly just wait till it's convenient. So she really believes that she's doing it. Now, whether she is or she isn't, that's still up for debate. Maybe they believe that they're saving the world, but they're really not. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And now Luke knows that there are other institutes because he connected to them psychically. He asks Sigsbee about it, like, why don't you want us to know about the other institutes? And she says, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, it's possible she doesn't know, I guess. Maybe they didn't tell her, but
I think when she goes on and explain how they've saved the world and all this other stuff, that's her admitting that he's right about what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And he tells her that they fucked up. And yeah, they did. They fucked up pretty badly. They underestimated Luke and Avery. Stackhouse goes on, and he calls for a lockdown. He's basically freaking out. Yeah, he's freaking out and going on lockdown, and Avery's looking at the recovery room, and he's like, I think I always saw them, but I didn't understand what they were until Luke told me. So yeah, he knew, he had already seen what's behind this door in his head, the kids laying in the beds, but he didn't understand exactly what they were. He didn't understand that they're being used like batteries, that they're being used for energy, and drained of whatever energy was left in them. So he goes in the room, they all go in there and they see that the kids are not even in the beds anymore. Then they spot the lady who takes care of those kids, dismembered, laying in a bed. I'm not going to show you the graphic images of her dismembered body because YouTube doesn't like that kind of thing. So I'm just going to show some minor images, not anything crazy.
Well, YouTube doesn't like minor images either, Julie.
No, not that kind of minor.
Okay, all
right. Some minor violent images. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. Then there was a really funny moment. There was a really funny moment where they were like, oh, holy shit. And they turn around and they see all the kids from the bed standing in the corner looking at them like a bunch of creeps. That was low-key hilarious. There was just standing there like, what the fuck? Creepy kids. They're like the Walking Dead over here. They may have been able to get up and move again. That doesn't mean they're back to normal. They're still gorked. Their brains are still out to lunch. And I don't think that that's fixable. Their brains are fried, but at least they're up and moving again, and they can actually be of use to everyone else as they connected, and they helped psychically connect everyone, and they helped boost the power of these kids by being part of that. And Avery tells the others, Luke said that they're the battery. We can use their power. So they still have power left in them. They still have energy that can be used. The Institute was using that energy, and now the kids can use it instead. So they lead the kids out of there. And he's able to get an unlocked door to open so that they can get out and into some of the tunnels. Meanwhile, the security guys are like, they're noticing it because they're watching that. They file into the tunnels and Stackhouse is watching. Worst head of security ever. What an idiot. God, the clowns running this place are an absolute embarrassment. If this place is really saving the world, hire some competent people to run it, baby. Gee, you ever think of that? It makes no sense whatsoever to have people this incompetent running an institute that's supposedly saving the world. Just saying. This guy sucks in every way. And they have some guy named Zeke. Of course he sucks too. He's like, Zeke, shut down the power to back half. So some dope out of his security team. This guy's like, what? Stackhouse is like, the tunnel, shut it down now. I'm trying to tell him to shut down the power to the back half tunnel where the kids are right now. He's like, what? The guy's like, Stackhouse is like, just do it. I mean, these guys are a bunch of idiots.
Zeke.
Yeah.
Zeke and them.
They're all idiots. Idiots, every one of them. The only competent person in the whole place is Sigsbee. The only one. But she can't do it all. She was trying to wear all the hats and run around and do everyone's jobs for them, including Stackhouse's job, but she could only do so much as one person. But anyway, I digress. I will stop ranting and continue. They go through the tunnel. The kids from recovery, the gorked kids, they're still brain dead basically, but they can move and they can still serve as energy sources. Then the power goes out, but they continue anyway. They're at a door that makes it kind of difficult, and so like they all join hands to try to bust the lock open on this door and harness their powers together. You know, the door is, it seems like it's too much for them basically. So it seems like they're going to be stuck, because the door is not just locked, it's dead. The power has been cut, so whatever electronic mechanism is keeping it shut is off because the power's out. Stackhouse calms down way too easily. He's like, we've managed to confine them to the tunnel, and one of his guys says, yes sir, glad I could kill the power. Then they proceed to talk about this very nonchalantly, like, no big deal. There isn't still a major threat going on. It's not like they just missed their keyhole and now the world is going to end. I mean, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but this makes no sense either. Why are they so calm when their keyhole just closed and they didn't take out that woman who's supposed to bring on Armageddon? I don't get it. They're all just sitting here like dopes, like it's no big deal. Stackhouse says, of course, this is only a temporary measure. Suppose we needed to... Now he's saying this part is fucked beyond belief. He says, suppose we needed to use an unjustly vilified phrase, a final solution concerning those residents. A final solution? A final solution.
Unjustly vilified.
And it's unjustly vilified, that phrase. This is beyond fucked up. And it just goes to show that these people truly are sociopaths or psychopaths, one or the other, but they're referring to, I can't use his name because of YouTube guidelines, but they're referring to the leader of Germany during World War II. That's the phrase that he used. The final solution was related to exterminating Jewish people. That was the final solution. Extermination of Jewish people. And they're literally, this is not a coincidence. Though that phrase is not used. This is not a common phrase that's used. They did this on purpose. The writers of the show did this on purpose, referencing that, and it's really warped. I don't know. I'm not Jewish, but I wonder how Jewish viewers felt about this phrase being added like that. I mean, I know these people are evil, so they're not saying, "Oh, this is a good thing," but it's just so crazy to me that they actually referenced that. Wow. Anyway, and it just shows how evil they are. I mean, they think that they're saving the world, though, but they're clearly evil people. So it's like, I feel like the writing of this would have been better if these were people who are not like mustache twirling evil people talking about a final solution. I think it would have been more effective, in my opinion, if these characters running the place were struggling with this. Like they're trying to save the world and the ends justify the means for them. So they're taking the lives of these children to do it. And if we saw them struggling with their conscience and shedding a tear or something.
Like Maureen was.
Like Maureen. Mm-hmm. Maureen was the only person who felt any shame. And Avery said that after being in her head, reading her mind. None of these other people felt any shame. Why? Why is this place being run by a bunch of sociopaths and psychopaths? I guess the only way I can explain it is that this place must recruit sociopaths and psychopaths, because those are the only people who'd be willing to do this job that necessitates killing children to save the world. So that's the only thing I can come up with, because even if you're saving the world, most people wouldn't be able to kill a bunch of children. They wouldn't be able to go through with it. But these people are maniacs. They're psychopaths. They're sociopaths. Some of them are one, some of them are another thing, but at any rate, they're not normal people. And so here he is referencing a final solution. And in the next breath, he's talking about gassing them. That sound familiar? He says, he talks about, like, it's like, okay, yeah, let's get some bleach. So the security guy says, you mean you want to make them inert? Is that what you're saying? And Stackhouse says, yes, suppose I am. The guy's like, easiest thing in the world, sir. You get some bleach, some toilet bowl cleaner. Housekeeping's got tons of both. Mix them up, right ratios. Hey, presto, you've got chlorine gas. They're going to gas these kids. Again, that goes right along with the final solution stuff. It's World War II Germany. That's what they did to the Jewish people and others who were imprisoned in those camps. They gassed them. So, and here we have these people talking about it like it's nothing. Oh, easiest thing in the world, sir. You just mix all these chemicals up and presto, you've got chlorine gas. They're so blasé about it. And he's literally smiling while he's talking about it. So the only way I can explain this is this institute must deliberately recruit sociopaths and psychopaths who don't mind killing kids. Because there's no other way I can explain why they have this attitude where they literally don't care, or they're enjoying the whole process of doing it. It doesn't make any sense, because they're supposed to be doing this just because they're trying to save the world, and not because they hate these kids. It's not like what they were doing in World War II, where they hated the Jewish people and they blamed them for all of of society's ills. That logically, okay, you could follow their thought process. They were sick monsters who hated the Jewish people. These people don't hate these children. They're doing this to save the world. So why are they doing this so gleefully or so apathetically? It doesn't make sense. So I'm sorry. Once again, I'm ranting, but the writing of this frustrated and confused me as to what they were going for with this. And yeah, it's just crazy how they reference Nazi Germany like that. Oops, I said the word I'm not supposed to say.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't like that word. So don't write it in the chat, please. YouTube doesn't like it if you write it in the chat either. But yeah. Anyway, it's awful. It's so dark, these references. I was shocked by it. So they're planning on gassing the kids in the tunnels, just dumping buckets of that gas into the tunnel ducts, and then Stackhouse is like, all right, then let's do it. Well, let's get the ingredients ready. He's like, just a contingency, you understand. Like, doesn't mean we're going to actually use it to gas the kids, but we'll just get it all ready just in case. Yeah, sure. So anyway, yeah, I got to stop going on rants, or we're never going to get through this thing. But there are just some things that really frustrated me. Another thing that referenced World War II Germany was the smokestacks. It's another thing while I'm on that topic. The smokestacks where they burn the children's bodies. Early in the season, we were talking about how they seem to be a reference to the smokestacks from the crematoriums in those camps in Germany, where they burned the bodies of those victims, countless victims burned, just absolutely horrific. And this show is invoking some of the darkest acts in human history from World War II in multiple ways. So yeah, that was the best scene of the episode, Doc. Yeah, I agree. The one that I was breaking down earlier with the kids
with Tony.
And yeah,
that's his reference to Tony.
Yeah, the kids turning Tony's taser against him.
Tony's taser.
Yes.
Flows, right?
It does. Alliteration.
Mm-hmm. It flows like electricity through your mouth.
Yeah. Exactly like that. Hey, David and Gio, finally caught alive. Well, you finally caught the first one in about 2 weeks. So you haven't been missing anything. We just haven't been doing lives as much lately, but we're going to get back to a more normal schedule pretty soon. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Shadow Self was cheering at that scene with Tony, with Tony getting tased in the face. Me too. I think all of us were. Hey, Rose Jones, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, by the way, Rose, I'm glad that you're here, actually, so that I can say this. I have not forgotten about your very kind, generous donation to do a giveaway of Tony's book. Not Tony from the show. Let's differentiate Tony's here. Tony Teflon's book. I have not forgotten about that. I had been talking to Tony about trying to find a time to set up a live where we could do a giveaway of his book, because you donated enough that I think that we can give away 2 copies of his book. But we couldn't do it at the time because Tony has been covering Dexter and very busy with that. His channel's been popping off lately with his coverage of Dexter. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, the views he's been getting on his videos for Dexter are crazy. No wonder he's been so busy. He's tied up doing his Dexter coverage. But I think Dexter might be winding down or already done by now. So I'll talk to him about when he's available and we could do a stream and give away those books. So don't worry, Rose. Still holding on to that donation that you made, and we're going to do a giveaway of Tony's book. And if we can't coordinate something where Tony can be there, then I'll just go ahead and do it, even if he can't make it. We won't wait much longer. I definitely need to wait till I'm back home, though. So like once I'm back home, we'll figure it out. I'm going to be home from my trip September 15th. So sometime after that, we'll figure out a night to do a giveaway and we'll take care of that. Anyway, let's see. What else was here? She said, well, what did Rose say? Missed you all, was on vacay mode. Me too. I've been away for a while myself. And I missed you guys too. So it's great to see you in the chat. Always great to see everybody. So the casting of the mother from Weeds as the boss lady, Ms. Sixby, kind of threw me off, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, David. Yeah, really interesting casting for sure. Shadow said head of security may have been more competent to begin with. He may have lost it due to jealousy and becoming too overconfident in their control of the kids. Very true. Maybe he got complacent. They all underestimate the kids. Yes, they definitely do. David said, I've never read the book, but it sounds like the end of season 1 meets up with the end of season 2. So it should be like a sequel to the book, which is much more exciting, whichever way they take it. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Doc said the book calls the targets hinges rather than keyholes. Oh, okay. Keyhole is a phrase only used in the show. And Doc said there was no window of timing in the book. They knew when the bad thing might happen, so they timed it years in advance often. They changed it as part of the change of it being a story about failing institutions to instead be oversimplified to the Charlie problem. So, yeah, I agree. In the book, Doc was telling me that the book was mainly about failing institutions being kept going long after they really needed to. And then in the show, instead, they really focused on the trolley problem, where basically you harm a small number of people for the greater good so that you can avoid harm coming to a larger group of people. That's the trolley problem in a nutshell. So the book was an overall commentary on institutions. Those running it posed it as a trolley car problem type thing, but the book was about that they were full of it. It was a failed and archaic institution. The book leaves you still, though, with that lingering doubt and wondering. Yeah, wondering whether or not they really were saving the world or not. Yeah, I think that the show would have been better off that way, in my opinion. Jack Bender is an old Jewish dude, so he gets a pass. Yeah, that's true. Jack Bender is one of the executive producers of the show, so he gets a pass on making all those references to the Holocaust. Yeah, definitely, Doc. It's just very dark stuff. Really dark. Yeah, hi there, Real Cinema Therapy, aka Lori. Nice to see you. They showed the chimney smoking in the first episode, setting the extermination tone. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Rose, it's crazy that you can't even say his name or party without getting flagged. Yeah, the leader of Germany in World War II? Yes, you can't. You can't say it. That's right. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really wise, because those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And we should be able to say it so that we can make sure we educate people about what happened. So not saying the name, I don't think that's helpful, but that's just my opinion. David said they should have shown a vision of the nuclear war, because what they are saying kind of smells like BS. Is it meant to be inevitable or just one possibility? The keyhole events just keep coming? Yeah, I know, right? Like, how do we know that it's really them saving the world, right? Shadow said Tabitha got a ding on the clock app for saying the acronym PTSD. What in the world? Really? Well, that's ridiculous. On a live? Wow. Yeah, it was really disturbing hearing those references. Absolutely. I don't know if those references were used in the book. Maybe Doc could tell us if that's the case. David said, was there any link to the Drifter ex-cop with the Institute and the child he had to shoot? Yeah, I think that was just meant to show us that story, I think, was meant to kind of thematically get us ready for him to be saving a bunch of kids. He had to shoot a kid before the kid was about to commit a mass shooting. So Tim was really motivated to try to save these children. And as a result, from his guilty conscience. And so that's all that I think that was about. Doc said Critter and I are launching a channel, probably in time to stream Saturday evening. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. That's amazing. I love Critter, and we we love you, Doc. So let us know, and we will help you promote however we can. I'll do whatever I can to help. So happy for you. That's so cool. Doc said Critter and I will be covering giant monster stuff, starting with Shin Godzilla. That's terrific. I love it. Rose said, no worries. I'm sure you will get to it soon. Tony has been a machine lately. Yes, he has. He really has. She said, I can wait. Okay. I just didn't want you to think we forgot about it, Rose. I would never do that. That money is sitting right there waiting for that giveaway. I promise you. No worries. And thank you for your patience and for understanding that. Scott says, please like, subscribe, share, and ring that notification bell. Thank you, Scott. Tony Teflon, the mother effing Don. Here's Tony's channel. Thank you, Carl, for posting the link to our friend Tony's channel. So check that out. He's been killing it with his Dexter coverage these days. I don't watch that show. I've got to go back and watch the original first. So eventually I'll get around to watching it. Anyway, so let's continue so we can be done with this before the sun comes up. Like way before. I swear it's going to be way before the sun comes up. So I took way too many screenshots though. Shit. How many scenes in are we? So moving on, I hope you guys don't mind if I just blow through some scenes before I check in with you again. He's escorting Sigsbee out, and she's very, very creepy and sinister in what she's saying, like about the end of the world coming. Like, hope you're taking this in, all the trees, the green, the air. You're going to want to remember this when it all turns to ash. So apparently nuclear war is what they're foreseeing. And they better make good on this threat in season 2. The world better seem like it's really coming to an end, because they're building it up like that. So anyway, she said, I don't expect the kids to get it. I don't even really expect most adults. And he just kind of interrupts her, she says to understand, but he interrupts her like, just shut up. It's really satisfying to see him put her in her place, actually. To see him just eviscerate her. Just shut your fucking mouth. Do you know how much evil is done by people in the name of saving the world? And he's right about that. He's absolutely right. There's a lot of evil that's done by people who think that they're doing something good for mankind. And if you really think about it, that, going back to the German leader of the leader of Germany in World War II, whose name I can't say on YouTube. I mean, in a way, he kind of thought he was doing something great for society too, in his sick, twisted way. I mean, he didn't think he was really saving the world, but, in his way, he thought he was somehow like purifying, the gene pool with the Aryan race. Absolutely horrific. And in reality, he was just a monster slaughtering millions of innocent people. And I think that that's kind of the subtext of what this line is going for here. That's kind of the subtext, because we had that language that these people were using, the final solution, and talking about gassing the kids. And we saw the smokestacks. And so it's clear that we're supposed to be thinking about that as he's saying this line. But Sigsbee says we are saving the world. So the difference is, for what she's saying, like, the difference is they really are saving the world. It's not just people who think they're saving the world, or they think that they're doing something great for the society. They really are. And we'll see. Tim says, no, you're killing children. And she's like, oh, well, a few. She kind of like rolls her eyes a bit and says a few, which is really ridiculous. Oh yeah, all we did was murder a few kids. That's all. No big deal. He's like, a few, and she says they die heroes. Okay, did they get to choose that? No. And is it justified just because they die heroes? No, it's not. Now, maybe I'll put a poll in the chat as to what you guys think, because this could be a moral and philosophical debate like we had during The Last of Us, where it was is it worth it to kill that one child to try to save the human race? Would it have been worth it to kill what the hell was her name now? I can't remember. Ellie. What was it justified to kill Ellie if it meant a potential cure for mankind of that virus, turning them all into zombie-like creatures? And this is a similar trolley problem, where instead, though, it's even worse. They're killing a lot of kids, and they think that they're saving the world to do it. So I'm going to make a poll whether you guys think that it's justified or not. And let me see. Is the Institute's mission justified? Let's see. Or is the Institute's, or I'll say, are the actions of the Institute justified? Kill kids to save the world. Yes. The ends justify the means. No, I say no. Let the world burn. It's time for the world to end if that's what it takes to save the world. Then the world has run its course. We've had our shot, and we're done. That's my opinion. See, I would say no, and then another option would be let's see, what's another one? What's another option, Carl? What would be another option for these? Yes, the ends justify the means. No. What would be another one? I mean, it's possible that they're not really saving the world, but I don't know how to make that as an option here. Like,
ends justify the means, or no.
What would be a third option?
Or that none of what they're doing is working. In other words, their actions have no effect.
Okay. Let's see. I'll say they're not really saving the world too. Like, they're not really saving the world because that's a possibility. And then other, let us know in the comments. So I'm curious to see what you think. I know there's at least one of you guys who thinks that they actually are justified in what they're doing. And I know there's an argument to be made for that. So no, don't feel any shame in disagreeing and saying they're justified in what they're doing. It is a classic moral debate, the trolley car dilemma. So anyway, so moving forward here. She says, a few, yeah, it's as opposed to what? Watching everyone they love burn, the skin peeling off like rags. So the way it sounds, she's making it sound like this end of the world Armageddon is coming soon. She says that they'd be watching everyone they love burn. So this could be imminent, which is interesting. Has this always been the time when it was going to happen? Because they've been operating for at least 50 years based on what they've said. She said that they've prevented this many times over. And so it sounds to me like there are multiple Armageddon events that have been averted, and the next one could be coming soon, and the kids would be watching everyone they love die. She said a handful of kids would prevent all of that. You don't think that's worth it? You don't. And he says, no, I don't. She says, well, that's insane. So she says, yeah, well, that's insane. He says, you're insane. She's like, yeah, I'm insane. So they go back and forth like that.
It's like Shakespeare wrote it.
Yeah, great. It sounds like Shakespeare, indeed. Such eloquence. So yeah, this is a big moral debate, believe it or not. I mean, this is not as clear cut as it seems. It is the trolley car dilemma. There's a reason that's taught in philosophy classes. I know it sounds crazy to say that their mission that involves killing kids could be justified, but I mean, if they are saving the world, then there's an argument to be made for that. So anyway, yeah. So moving on, he marches her out to the car, and back in the tunnel, Avery is trying to make contact with Luke, but it's kind of hard for him to hear him because he's too far away, and Luke is trying to tell him something. Avery's not sure if Luke can even hear him, and they keep trying, and he's like, Luke, can you hear me? And Luke is leaving with the rest of them, and they're planning on leaving, but he's like, stop, because he finally does hear Avery and says, we need to go back. But they want to take him to the FBI because they need backup. They can't just go in there guns blazing. They need backup. They're too small of an outfit. They don't have the manpower. But he jumps out of the car. And I find this a little weird because this is a cop car and he's sitting in the back seat. So this is dumb writing. He's sitting in the back seat of a cop car with a criminal who they've just arrested in handcuffs. And he's able to just jump out of the car. Shouldn't it be locked? He just jumps out of the car and leaves.
No, I would think so.
Yeah, it's stupid. He's saying that they've got to go back. They got to go back to the Institute. He said that they still have a chance, but we need more power. And Avery needs to answer that big phone, and he can't do that on his own. Now, that's a weird phrase, that big phone. We'll come back to that later. I think it's just it's a metaphor. It's meant as a metaphor, answering the big phone. He says, I've been trying to tell him, but my TP is not strong enough to hold the connection. So I need to get close. So his TP is his telepathy. Calling it TP just sounds stupid. It sounds like toilet paper. I just can't keep doing it. I'd rather say telepathy. He's like, his telepathy is not powerful enough, so he's got to get closer to the Institute, in proximity to the Institute. He says his friends are trapped and Stackhouse is going to kill them. And Tim's like, how can you know that? You dumb fuck. You know that he's telepathic by now. Like, the writing of this. Come on, man. You know he's telepathic.
Come on, bro.
Like, come on. He's like, because I just do, okay? Because I'm telepathic, you dumb fuck. He's like, and then Wendy says, here's what we do know. Going back there is suicide. Oh, I shouldn't have said that word on YouTube either. There's another strike against me.
Demonetized.
There I go. Shit. That's another word I'm not supposed to say. Oops. Mm-hmm. She says we need to get to the outside world as fast as possible. Ride back with the cavalry. And he says no, but she's like, come on, you're a smart kid. You know that I'm right. But he says that'll take too long. If there's a chance to save them, then it's now. And they need to get help to them. But leaving and bringing the FBI will take too long. He's right about that. And Tim sides with Luke. he says, I don't know what the right thing to do here is, but I know that I believe you. And I was really glad to hear this. Tim is a great character. He said, whatever you want to do, whatever you decide, as long as I am fucking breathing, I promise that I will do whatever it takes to make it happen. Which is awesome. And that's, you know, his mission in life now is really to make up for the guilt on his conscience of having to kill a 16-year-old kid who was about to do a mass shooting. So, of course, he's going to do whatever he can now to help these kids, which is great. He's a character you really want to root for. And Wendy doesn't want to listen because Luke is just a kid, but Tim still sides with him anyway. And I love it because she says, you can't do that. He's just a kid. And Tim says, why not? It's the grown-ups who fucked it all up, which is a great line. The grown-ups fucked the world up so badly that this is even an issue at all. So, you know, the grown-ups fucked it all up to the point where they're using kids, they're killing kids to prevent Armageddon being caused by themselves, a bunch of adults. It's too bad they don't use adults instead of kids at the very least. Kids always have to pay, but you know, you could look at that as an allegory to the way society actually works. What happens? You have like older people in power who start wars, and who do they send to die in these wars? They send the youngest of them. They send kids. They send 18-year-old kids off to die in their wars that they start. So this you could look at this as an allegory for that. This whole storyline.
Suffer the little children. It's Norman Osborn from the first Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Remember, he's like, let the woman you love die or suffer the little children. Choose, Spider-Man. That's a Spider-Man reference, guys. Sorry.
Spider-Man reference for those of you in the know. And then this is actually really funny. If you're paying attention, eagle-eyed viewers, you'll notice that Stackhouse has a special name in his phone for Sigsbee. When she calls him on his phone, it says Queen Bitch calling. I like
How
that.
petty.
I like that. And he's using a really old, shitty phone. What the hell? What is this, a flip phone? Yes, this is a flip phone.
Or are those the Discord? Or not Discord. Not Discord. Are those the Institute phones that get through the blockage?
Maybe that's a sat phone.
Yeah.
It's maybe
some old technology.
Yeah, it might be a satellite phone because right now they jammed the signals so no one's regular phones can get through. Yeah. So he gets a call from Sigsbee and says, we've had a situation here. Happily, I've got it contained. Hope you can say the same thing. Because she was out there looking for Luke. But Tim answers instead of Sigsbee saying, no such luck. Stackhouse's face is funny when he hears Tim's voice instead of Sigsbee. You're like, oh, fuck.
His greatest acting performance in the whole season.
Right? He's like, oh, Mr. Jameson. And he says, my colleague, the one that phone belongs to, is she alive? And then Sigsbee says in the background, I'm here, Trevor. He's like, thank God. And the Ellis boy, is he with you as well? Luke then announces that he's there too. He says, I assume your friends have kept you abreast. So this is where he goes full on evil villain right here. It's like, I assume your friends have kept you abreast of the spot they're in. Luke's like, they have. He's like, good. That makes this conversation simple. He goes on to say, sorry, my computer's slow. You know about chlorine gas. And Luke is just like thinking, okay. He says, reacts with water and makes hydrochloric acid. Luke now can hear where he's going with this. Stackhouse says, think about all the moisture that coats your throat, your lungs. Now imagine how it would feel if it all turns to acid inside of you. This is just full-on evil villain right here. He's like, yeah, his point is definitely being made.
And he's like, and your little dog too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really it's classic evil villain trope right here. He says, I want you here, Luke, otherwise that's how your friends will die. So yeah, full on threatening to gas all of his friends unless Luke comes back. But we all know that he'll just gas Luke too then. He'll just gas them all. Luke is not stupid. Luke is like, he's a genius. He's the smartest kid they've ever recruited. He knows better. He says, they're all gonna die like that. Avery, Nikki, Kalisha. He makes sure he name drops all of them. Luke's like, and if I do come back, then what? You'll wipe their memories as usual and agree to send them home? I know about the chimneys, Mr. Stackhouse. And so it's, he can't be fooled like that. But, he's like, they die anyway. So he knows they're just going to die anyway. But Stackhouse says, not necessarily. There's an area of our work that doesn't require damaging the subjects. Luke says, and he always uses that term when relating to the kids, damaging them. They're human beings. They're not objects that can be damaged. But that's like the third time this season he's used that word in relation to these kids. Luke says, right, precognition. And so he's like, whoa, Miss Sixby has been talkative. What else has she told you? Luke says, she told us there's only a handful of precogs that have ever been discovered, which means him. He's one of them. And he says, what are you saying? That my friends are all worthy candidates? So he's too smart for this line of thinking. Like, there's no way all of them are worthy candidates because there are only a handful of precogs. And Stackhouse admits, okay, no, you're the only precog in the bunch. Luke says, then I don't understand. And Stackhouse responds, did Ms. Sixby happen to tell you how PCs are treated? Like kings, like gods. And this is a direct reference to history. In various cultures, when human sacrifices were done, including sacrifices of children, they treated these people like gods before they sacrificed them. And so this is definitely a reference to that. So they treat precog kids like gods before they kill them. As if that makes it any better, because it sure doesn't. But yeah, like the Aztecs and various other groups in history, various other societies and cultures, they would treat this child or person absolutely like a king, like a god. They would give them feasts of the best food and just,
because the God had blessed them and or manifested inside of them.
mm-hmm.
Sort of almost like a, not quite reincarnation, but like sort of like, this is the God on earth at this moment. And so they lived a great life, oh, I want grapes, I want this, I want a mango, I want whatever. And then it's like, hey, you're 15, I want to go home. No, you're going to go tumble down the temple without your head.
Yeah, that's history. That's exactly what happened. So they're definitely referencing that history here. And Luke says, so you think if you promise to treat me like a god, that I'll be willing to let you use up my friends? And Stackhouse says, I would imagine for a genuine PC, we could make some accommodation. Now, I don't know what exactly he's talking about, that he'll
maybe not kill his buddies. Like they could have a little clubhouse under the institute.
It sounds like, maybe he's willing to make a deal. And Luke, obviously Luke is not going to go for that really, but he says that they have a deal. He says, but remember, if you do anything to my friends, I will know. And you won't see me again until you watch me on 60 Minutes. So obviously he's not serious. He's not really agreeing to this. He knows it's a trap, but he has to get back there and get close so that he can save them. So he lets Stackhouse think it's a deal and says, I'm not coming to him. We are coming for him. Good line. Really good line. Stackhouse then convenes with Hendricks here, and he's wondering if Sigsbee's dead. And obviously he's kind of got a thing for her. They've been hooking up in the kitty toy closet for who knows how long. Weird place to hook up. I don't know why they hook up in the toy closet, but
inappropriate.
Extremely.
Well, a toy closet, sure, but not a kid's toy closet. You know, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, wrong kind of toy closet for the hookups. And he's like, "Is Miss Sigsbee dead? I've never seen anyone sit in her seat before." He's all like nervous, and Stackhouse says, "No, not dead. Certainly incapacitated. Frankly, she's been tested and failed. She's no longer mission critical." So he's being cold as ice, and he always clearly hated her anyway, and he was pissed that she got the top job and he didn't. Then he hears from one of his guys on the radio, and the guy's mixing up the chemicals to gas the kids. And once again, awfully blasé about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, mixed in abundance. Figured." He's like, "Figured you'd want to have enough to be sure. Industrial disinfectant from housekeeping, stronger than bleach, mixed with a product called microsteril, contains nitric and phosphoric acid. Should be enough to sweep the tunnel clean of anything organic, even the microbes. You might want to let any remaining personnel in back half know it's going to be extremely fragrant."
Did this guy major in chemistry with a minor in security or something? I mean, what the hell? Where's this guy come from?
I have no idea. I have no idea how he knows so much about chemicals. And he's so cheerful about all this. They're a bunch of ghouls, all of them. And then we have this is the kicker of it. He tells this fellow ghoul, fellows. Figures she's actually called fellows too. I didn't even do that on purpose. That play on words. He says, "Fellows, the children may attempt to influence you. Make sure you ignore all distracting thoughts." And the guy says, "I always do, sir," with a smile as he lowers his gas mask so that he can prepare to gas the kids. What a fucking freak. What a fucking psycho. Anyway, I swear they must recruit psychos on purpose. Psychos and sociopaths.
Hey, but they're running out of budget for like personnel and this and that. But they've got that guy looks like he just came out of Breaking Bad. They've got enough protective equipment to mix up some chlorine gas or whatever.
Yeah.
That sort of priorities are kind of all over the place here, huh?
Yeah, I thought they were really struggling right now. And they're short staffed and everything else. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But Hendricks is wondering why he's even here. Like he should be preserving his data for the burn. So he said, "I should be prepping the labs for the burn, preserving my data." So I guess they're planning on burning the place down after this.
Remember, there's also a procedure known as a burn where you burn like all the documents, not necessarily the facility that you're in. All your top secret documents, you throw them in the burn bag. So
Okay.
I don't know if they're referencing that for the burn. I guess it could be a literal burn.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're half-assing it, like with all these other things, maybe that's what they'll do. They'll just light a match and hope it burns.
Right. Okay. Yeah, maybe. And I guess they're planning on doing that because Luke got out with that flash drive. Luke got out with the flash drive. And so they know that their secret could be getting out soon. That flash drive contained a lot of damning stuff exposing them that Maureen recorded, showing that they're killing kids. So Stackhouse says you and I have a phone call to make. So they're planning on calling the mystery man, using the old-fashioned phone as usual. Now, before I continue, let me just check in with you guys. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off before? I'm just scrolling up. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, so Doc said also the show was trying to make the point of Tim killing one kid to save the many, like the Institute think they are doing. The book is different with Tim's story there. Right, okay. Gotcha. And let's see. Scrolling down here. Scott said once that door is open, it can never be shut again. And David said, I would totally doubt her like he is. Yes, absolutely. Doubt Sigsby? Yeah. Real Cinema says, who's to say the precog kids are right about the targets? Can't there be other ways to intervene with Armageddon other than using kids to end them? Yeah, those are great points. I mean, there are a lot of flaws in the logic of this. Absolutely. Scott said the lesser of two evils is still evil, 100%. And yes, Real Cinema, this is exactly why YouTube does this. Oh, absolutely. I can understand why they do it. She said maybe YouTube censors Holocaust info because of the neo groups that would use the term to glorify their beliefs. Yes, absolutely. That's why they do it. Because unfortunately, there are neo groups, I can't say the full word, but you know what I'm talking about, who would use Holocaust terms to glorify their beliefs. They're absolutely vile, hateful beliefs. So that's why YouTube has to do this. But unfortunately, that means it also censors people who are just trying to spread information about history and reference history.
Rhymes with Yahtzee.
Yes. Yes, it rhymes with that. So I get why they do it, but it is a problem, though. It's a problem for people who are just trying to, discuss factual information and make sure people know what really happened. Because there are deniers. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but there are Holocaust deniers, and we can't have that. We can't let that stand. Doc says if you do a separate wrap-up on the show, I would be happy to talk about all the differences at the end of it. Some people won't want all those details, so probably putting towards the end a good idea. Yeah, absolutely. Some people may not want all the details. And yeah, maybe we can find a night to do a separate wrap-up or a live at some point to just discuss the differences and similarities between the book and the show. I would really like to do that, Doc. So let's definitely talk about when we could fit that in. David said, why wouldn't they develop a way that doesn't completely drain their psychic energy and turn them into vegetables, especially if they can be recharged by the more powerful child? Yeah, that's a great point, I mean, you would think they'd have a better way of doing it. I agree. Shadow Skulk, no, I'm not monetized. Mistakes here and there won't have a big impact. That's right. So it's not like my video is not going to be monetized if I accidentally say a word that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. So yeah, Doc said Julie's playing all the no hits tonight. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Shadow, you reminded me. So yeah, I'm not monetized. So anyone who is so inclined, if you want to support the channel, there are ways to do it. In the description of the video, I have a Cash App and a Venmo for US residents, and for international, there's a Buy Me a Coffee account, and there's also a PayPal account under Dieter's name. But I would say the best ways to do it, if anyone wants to, you can donate via Cash App, Venmo, or the Buy Me a Coffee would be the most simple way to do it. And yeah, because I don't have memberships or super chats since I'm not monetized, so I don't have the ability to do that. And you know, I don't have the ability to do, what's the other thing? Memberships, super chats. There's something else like super stickers. And
there's also super thanks, which are, I think, like a monetized comment or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have any of that stuff. But Real Cinema says I will be covering Daryl Dixon starting 9/7, and also the original Walking Dead show next week. Awesome. And here's her Discord link and her YouTube channel link. So definitely, if you watch those shows, check out Real Cinema Therapy's channel. She delivers such really accurate psychological analysis of these different characters on complex dramas like The Walking Dead and The Last of Us and things like that. And she's covered Severance and various other shows. She's doing an amazing job. So proud of her. So, I mean, she's clinical social work is her specialty. So she brings a unique perspective to these shows and really spot on analysis and just a great personality for this too. An absolute natural at what she does. So really proud of her and everything that she's doing, including her partnership, doing some co-hosting with Jamie over on Sci-Fi Vision channel too on some series. So it's just awesome to see. Anyway, so thank you, Scott. Please like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell. So I'm a little bit further down. So Carl wrote this here in the chat. Send some love, aka cash, LOL, Julie's way. Thank you for that. There's the Buy Me a Coffee link right there. And Scott also dropped it right below. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And no amount is too small. Trust me, it all adds up and it's all appreciated. I know times are tough and things are expensive, but every little bit helps. So thank you, guys. And Doc here said, one of the most gruesome scenes I ever read in a Dragonlance novel was a flashback to a green dragon wiping out most of a village with its chlorine gas breath. Wow. I think it was in a Damon Grimwolf flashback in Dawning of a New Age. I might be wrong. I read so many, but it was definitely in the 5th Age of Grin. Yeah, that sounds terrible. Scott said, seems awful, like dirty thing. Oh, hey, Amy is back. Nice to see you, Amy. Oh, hey, it is. You flipped your name around. Now it's Luncher Muncher. It was Muncher Luncher before. Okay. No, and I'm gonna have to get used to that. Now it's Luncher Muncher. Nice to see you. But you kept your avatar the same. The cat with the pizza. I love that. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Glad you could make it at this ungodly hour. It's only 2:52 a.m. where I am in Central Time, but it's 3:52 on the East Coast. So, I am now Luncher. I have evolved. Okay, then. So let me see. Did I miss anything else before I continue? Oh, Scott posted my Venmo as well. Thank you, Scott. And you can find all this info in the description of this video too, by the way. So if you're listening on the replay, all of my different donation options are in there. And you are so welcome, Lori. You're welcome. Oh, Amy's in Central too. And some people are on the West Coast, so as bad for those of you who are on the West Coast. But normally we're going to try to start lives a lot earlier going forward. So anyway, so moving on, the kids are hanging out in the tunnels, having been trapped there, and Luke is able to get through to Avery in his head, so that Avery knows he's on his way and that he has something he wants to tell him that he's trying to do. And they can feel that there's something coming, like there's yeah, they can feel that there's some threat coming, and that Luke needs to hurry. And they're all able to communicate in each other's heads now. So they're now picking up what Avery's been thinking about with Luke, the big phone. She's like, "What's the big phone? Why am I thinking that?" And Avery says, "I don't know. It's part of what Luke's trying to tell us. He wants us to work together, but I don't know what the big phone is." Yeah, so big phone. They're hearing that in their heads. Big phone, and it's not literal. It's not a literal phone. And then you hear children in Zulu, and I don't know what this language is. Twi.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
So there are children speaking in all
Is that
kinds
short for Twitter?
I don't know. Languages also saying stuff like, "What do you need us to do?" They're all uniting and speaking in each other's heads. God, that sounds like it would give you an awful headache. You're hearing all the kids' voices from these institutes around the world in your head at the same time. So yeah, they're driving and they're heading back toward the institute without much of a plan. Then they start talking. Wendy and Tim start talking about the day that he had to shoot the 16-year-old kid who was about to commit a mass shooting at the mall. And this has been kind of the thing that shaped Tim and is really driving him now to try to save these kids however he can, to redeem himself for having to kill that kid that day, even though he really had no other choice. She brings it up and she says, "Do you remember what you thought in that moment when the woman came out and said that the kid has a gun?" And he said something like that. There's your life before and there's your life after. That kind of, your life is kind of divided into before and after. You're never the same again if you have to do something like that, like what he had to do. And I understand what he's talking about, not because I've had to do anything like that, but I've had a horrific traumatic event happen in my life, and your life just gets divided into parts after that. Your life before and your life after, because you're never the same. He says, I didn't stop to think anything. You want to believe you wouldn't think twice. Chance to save some kids. So he's like, wait a minute. Did I miss a screenshot or something? He's like, bet everyone believes that until it's time to actually do it. So basically, yeah, you want to believe that you wouldn't think twice, and you'd have to really think about it. But in that moment when this kid had a gun and a woman warned him about it and the kid was about to go shoot some people, he just reacted. You don't have time to think. And this is what's driving him now. This is what's driving him to try to to try to save these kids however he can. And then they get close to the institute. So the security guys see them on camera, and Stackhouse is there waiting for them. He comes out and meets up with Tim, and he drags Hendricks along under duress because he's not letting him out of his sight. he doesn't, I guess he doesn't trust Hendrix to be out of his sight. So he's like, yeah, you're coming along. And there's a tense meeting between him and Tim on the bridge, which is being watched by the security team and by this mystery man who they've been talking to, the guy that they've been working under for a while. And we still didn't get a reveal of his face until the end of this episode. Stackhouse notices that Tim is injured. And he's like, first things first. Stackhouse says, first things first, let Sigsbee go. And of course, Tim says, no, she stays in the car until I'm satisfied that you're playing it straight. And if you're not, Luke puts a bullet in her head. And believe me, I've had to hold him back several times. So he'll do it, So he demands that Stackhouse give him the kids that he's about to gas. Stackhouse obviously doesn't agree and wants to speak to Luke. Tim refuses, says, no, you talk to me. Just in case you've got a sniper. And you've got to make some kind of good faith offer and let some kids go. Stackhouse says he's fully prepared to do that. And he says, we have some children ready for release. But what are you going to offer us in return? And, Tim's like, we're here, aren't we? But Stackhouse still wants to talk to Luke himself and get him to step out of the car. So they just keep going back and forth like this. And then the man on the radio tells Stackhouse, I have eyes on Sigsbee and Ellis. Be advised, if we move without neutralizing Ellis, there's a significant likelihood Sigsbee will be collateral damage. So in other words, they need to kill Luke. Otherwise, Sigsbee will be collateral damage. So yeah, then the whole thing just goes sideways. And he and the security, he directs the security personnel to just descend on them. They come charging over. They demand Sigsbee and Luke get out of the car at gunpoint. They put them all at gunpoint. And yeah, the surprise is that it's not Luke in the car. Instead of Luke, it is Wendy dressed as Luke, and Luke is elsewhere. So that was a really clever twist. I didn't see that coming. I liked how they did that. And Stackhouse didn't see it coming either. Luke is wearing Wendy's clothes, Wendy's jacket, and he's getting as close to the Institute as he can. He crawls back under the back end fence where he escaped from, and gets closer so that he can communicate with Avery and the others. He actually gets all the way in the building. Finally, Sigsbee tells them that Luke is going back to tell Avery about the other sites, and he needs to get close enough to be able to do that. She says no, she didn't tell him about the other sites. And Hendrix says that if Dixon, meaning Avery, can figure out how to connect to the other sites, he might be able to conduct them all, meaning he might be able to actually lead all of the kids in all the sites around the world and harness their powers to do what he wants this time, to do what the kids want. Which they didn't think it was even possible, but Avery is the most powerful kid they've ever had. And Hendrix was right. He begged Stackhouse not to give Avery the tank, meaning rushing Avery into the deprivation tank and rushing him into the back half, now his powers are even more amplified. And yeah, Stackhouse once again is a complete moron who screwed up, and Sigsbee sees it too. Like, you gave him the tank. Hendricks says drop the gas. So even though Hendricks has actually had some reservations about hurting the kids, even he is saying they need to gas the kids now. Tim tells them they're all monsters, while Sigsbee says, no, we're realists. Yeah, okay. Hendricks says that conducting that much power, there's no telling what he'd be capable of. And he's right. But then I think it's Stackhouse who says if we wipe out that crop, we might as well gas ourselves along with them. Actually, no. I think it was Sigsbee who said that. We might as well gas ourselves along with them. Meaning that if they wipe out those remaining kids, then the whole world is going to end, because they need those kids to avert Armageddon, as they've been doing for 50 years, or so they think anyway. So now they're between a rock and a hard place here. The kids are going to take them down. Who knows what the kids can even do? They realize they have no idea how much these kids are even capable of now, and turning against them. But if they get rid of them, then the world may end. So, yeah, they get ready to go to Sigsbee's office, and she says if any of those sites have been compromised, he's going to want to know. Meaning the mystery man they report to. Hendricks says that they already called him, and he says them upstairs. Mm-hmm. So the mystery man represents the mysterious upstairs that they've been referencing all season. They work for. We still don't know exactly who or what upstairs really is. It's just whoever they report to, who are above them, and that mystery man represents that. So we'll hopefully find out more about that in season 2, because that's still really vague. Is it part of the U.S. government? Like, what is it? I've been thinking that it's some kind of shadowy government agency connected to the U.S. government, like a CIA black op. But I don't know. Hopefully they'll explain that eventually. Anyway, Sigsbee's like, how could anybody so smart be so fucking stupid? Stackhouse is gonna kill you. Yeah. She said he's gonna tell any story he wants. So and she's right that Stackhouse has been playing Hendricks all along. Like he acts like he's working with Hendricks, but he's really just using him. And once he's done with him, he can just kill him and then tell any story he wants. So she's probably right about that. But Stackhouse is stupid too. The two of them, they've been the two stooges all season. He's like, no, he needs me. The program needs me. He's left there standing there like an idiot. And then it cuts to Luke getting into the back room, the back half rather, recovery room. And he sees that all the kids are missing from their beds, and instead there's the dismembered lady who oversees the place. I won't show you the graphic image of her body because YouTube won't like that. But Luke steals her keys and goes on his way from there.
Hands down, that was her best performance.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Um, he calls for Avery or Kalisha or anybody because he's trying to get through a locked door. Um, and he's able to communicate with Avery in his head, saying like he can't get through this door, and so he needs their help to bust through it using telekinesis. And he's like connecting with them, and then meanwhile Stackhouse and the security guys are watching on surveillance footage as Luke shows up. Um, so Luke has them get everybody up, all the kids. When it happens, they have to go fast. Um, and he says, when you talk on the big phone, so this is that big phone thing they keep talking about. They need all the kids to be ready. They still don't know what Luke even means by that. So they get everybody up, and including these kids that are just like zombies. And Iris is unfortunately one of them. And they're worried about the people with guns, though. But at any rate, yeah, they say that it's time. Luke says it's time. We have to open the connection. So we're heading into the big climax, the big finale. So they have to kind of unite all the kids in the world in the Institute sites around the world to take the place down. Sigsbee gets back to her office, and she has a moment to herself, which I guess is supposed to humanize her, but I just, for me, it just doesn't land. She calls her father's caregiver. Her father has Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. And she tells the caregiver that she has to go away for a while and not to put her dad on the phone, but just try to keep him away from the news while she's away. And if he asks about her, just keep playing him that message that she left on his birthday. And she sits there with tears in her eyes, and I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying it. Even monsters can love their parents. And I know this is meant to humanize her, but she's still a monster. She's still a sociopath, or I don't know, maybe not a sociopath because she loves her father, but she's a monster. She's a psychopath. I don't know what you would call her, but she doesn't feel any shame about what she's doing. Avery said the only person who felt shame was Maureen because he could read their minds. So that means she's a monster, and I'm just not buying this whole thing with her father. Like, I don't sympathize with her at all. I don't know about you guys, but I don't. So that little side story that they keep referring to with her and her father with Alzheimer's, it's just not working for me at all. I get what they're trying to do with it, but yeah, it's just not working. She's not a sympathetic character in any way. So Luke tells them via telepathy, the kids, first we make the sparkler. Not literally, but they kind of make a sparkler with their minds. They focus and they try to imagine one. And then they all repeat after Luke. First we make the sparkler, and then we talk on the big phone. And then all the kids in the different institute sites around the world, they repeat the same thing in their languages, which is really cool. It's an awesome scene. Once again, I love how they did this, uniting the kids around the world. And they say, yes, we hear you. And they're all imagining a sparkler. This was so cool. There were these really rapid cuts, these rapid flashes on the screen showing sparklers and different children speaking various languages around the world. Mandarin, Swahili. I loved how this was done. Really clever and just interesting. So yeah, I guess they use the sparkler thing to focus their psychic energy. And amplify its power. And since they don't have a real sparkler, they're imagining one. And they're all focusing on it. Really cool. Very well done sequence right here. And they all say that they can hear Avery and Luke, and they're all imagining this sparkler. And Luke says, we can do it now. We're connected. It says that to Avery. We're connected. That means they can now take down this building. So Luke says, we can do anything. And so it's kind of like the power of positive affirmations right here. And they repeat it. We can do anything. And then boom, the lock on the door opens where Luke has been stuck. And the building starts to collapse. Cracks start to form, and it starts to collapse bit by bit through their psychic energy. And they all have to kind of rush and get out of the way because it's starting to fall apart around them, which is so cool. I just loved it. And they actually showed part of what's going to happen in the trailer for this season. We'll get there in a minute though. And then there's another door that they're trying to get through, but this one is heavier and it's dead. The electricity that powers it is off, but they still can do it. They just have to use their powers a bit more intensely. And then you see like a crack forming in the wall where Stackhouse is at his office. I don't know if it was just me, but I think the CGI on this was pretty bad. This was really fake looking CGI crack forming in the wall. I wasn't buying this. Like, I guess they didn't have a Netflix kind of budget, so this is an MGM Plus budget crack in the wall.
Looks like they didn't even have a sci-fi channel budget, huh?
Yeah, seriously. But it was truly satisfying to watch Stackhouse's office come crumbling down around him and just swallow him up. And he's just like still trying. Drop the gas. He's on his walkie saying, "Drop the gas." Well, it didn't work. I don't know exactly why. I thought that they did. I'm pretty sure they did drop the gas in the tunnel, but the kids were faster in bringing the place down. So yeah, they dropped the gas, but it was too late. It was too late. The kids were already taking the building down. Truly satisfying watching some of these people finally get their comeuppance. Yeah, see, the gas is coming out. The vents are hissing, so they are gassing the kids, but the kids have already commenced taking the whole institute down, literally taking the building down. They bust open this door, shatter the glass, enabling Luke, Nikki, and Kalisha to get out. But in a shocking twist, which I didn't see coming, Avery stays behind. He says, "I'm the only one who can keep the connection open. They can't leave," meaning the kids who are gorked here. He says, "I have to stay with them to see this through, to finish." And Luke protests, saying, "No, we're going to help you," and tries to get Avery to come. But Nikki and Kalisha drag him away, and you know, Avery stays behind to, you know, make the ultimate sacrifice, to give up his life, to finish taking down the institute, because I guess somebody needed to be still with their mental faculties and stay behind, because these gorked kids didn't have their mental faculties and needed someone to stay there and lead them. I personally don't really like this. I don't think that it makes much sense with the internal logic of the show, because we've seen them do things remotely. We've seen him connect to Luke psychically when they weren't in the same place. I don't really get it. I think that he could have still stayed on the premises, just leave the kids in the hall and just go outside the building, he would have still been close. I just think it's dumb writing, frankly, to kill him off this way. I don't get it. I think they did it for a gut punch, but I just don't think that the logic of it makes sense as to why he needed to stay behind, personally. And it sucks. And he was my favorite character on the show. I think he was definitely one of the best. He had the best lines. He was funny and excellent as an actor, despite being the youngest on the show. I couldn't even say enough nice things to this actor when I interviewed him. I just praised him up and down about how awesome he was. And so if you haven't checked out my interview, it's, I think, the latest video on my channel with Viggo Hanvelt, who was just so awesome and so smart and insightful. And he gave some interesting behind the scenes info about what it was like filming his scenes on this show. And like, for example, the scene where he shattered the glass of the deprivation tank in episode 7, how that was done. And just what a smart and funny and interesting kid. I just hate that they killed him off like this. But I told him, I'm glad in retrospect. Now, I didn't know that he was going to get killed off when I talked to him last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. So I didn't know that he was going to get killed off. It was after watching episode 7 that I talked to him. And I told him, I'm sure that this role is going to be a stepping stone for you to get more big parts going forward and achieve everything you want to achieve, because he loves to act. He absolutely loves acting. And Viggo said, like, I asked him, is this the biggest part you've ever had? And he said, yeah, by a lot. This is definitely the biggest part I've ever had. He's mostly done Christmas movies up to this point. Lots and lots of TV Christmas movies. He's about 12 years old, I think he told me. And he's just starting out. And I'm so glad now, knowing that he got killed off, I'm glad that I gave him the words of encouragement that I did, because he probably needed to hear them. And it sucked that they killed off his character. I think it was completely unnecessary. They did it for some kind of emotional gut punch. And it just, I don't know. I just don't think it needed to happen. And anyway, but I'm sure this kid is going to do amazing things. This will be a stepping stone for even more parts, bigger parts at that, actually. So yeah, check out my interview. Thank you for dropping the link, Carl, to my interview with Viggo. I just loved talking to him. I love talking to kids in general, and child actors, I think, tend to be brilliant. They're smart and wise beyond their years. I've find, like, he's the second child actor I've interviewed. I've also interviewed Simon Webster on From, and both of them are so smart, so wise and insightful beyond their years. To be successful as actors, I think kids have to be like that. So anyway, this was just so sad. Damn, he's the youngest of all the kids on the show, and did it have to be him? Damn it. But if they wanted to tug at the heartstrings, this is the one to do it. I don't think fans are really emotionally attached to, I mean, no offense to these characters or actors, but I don't think fans are emotionally attached to Kalisha. And I don't know, I like Nikki, but I don't think Nikki dying would have been as gut-wrenching as little
Who?
Avery. Nikki.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki, you know, the guy with the very juvenile nickname. So anyway, this is really brutal. Luke is like, no, stop. You know, they're dragging him away. And Avery says, I'm sorry. Thanks for being my friends. I loved having friends. And his eyes welled up with tears. Man, once again, I am so glad I praised Viggo so much when I interviewed him. I told him what an amazing job he's done in so many ways in this role and I went into detail on it. And now what an amazing performance here. Those look like real tears. And he couldn't even talk. He had to pretend he was telepathically saying this stuff to Luke. And I really believe it. And I told him after episode 7, I said, when you talk telepathically, it really looks believable. And that couldn't have been easy. And he said it wasn't. It wasn't easy at all. He had to pretend that. And through his facial expressions, make it look like he's talking to them. Anyway, I loved having friends. That's so sad. It sounds like he hasn't had friends much in his life before. He had friends for such a short time. He was friends with them for only a little while, like maybe 2 weeks, if that. The time that this show took place in is very short. So that's the end of that. The other kids run away as the building crumbles. Sigsbee pulls out a photo, and this is a big question mark at the moment. It's a picture of a young man and a young girl. I think this is supposed to be her and her father. So this is not, they didn't explain this, but I'm pretty sure it's her and her father. The little girl looks like a child version of her. She has long dark hair. She has a similar face. And there's a young man, and he looks like he's wearing a military uniform. So it's fitting that she would be looking at a picture of her and her father, because that's her kind of little character development piece of this show. She's close to her father, who has Alzheimer's, and every now and then she calls him, and I guess this is supposed to humanize her. And earlier in this episode, she was talking to his caregiver, saying that she's going to be going away for a while, keep him away from the news and whatnot. I still don't feel sorry for her, so sorry, but I just don't care.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. She's still killing kids without any shame, based on what Avery has done reading their minds. So I'm not empathizing with her at all. And I don't really get why we should. We've never actually seen her and her father. And we're just supposed to feel sorry for her because we've seen her talking to him on the phone. I don't know. For me, the writing of this has not been effective. But regardless, yeah, these scenes were really cool. The building falling apart. I thought this was extremely well done with the special effects. And here, look at this. We have a wild George sighting. Amazing. I forgot he even existed, and here he is. And I guess the show wanted to remind us that George still exists.
Who?
It's like, poor kid. I mean, they couldn't even give him a little bit more. They couldn't give him a little bit more of a part in the finale of the whole season. I mean, what the hell? They just decided, it's like the writers wrote this finale and were like, oh shit, we forgot about George. Oh wait, okay, let's just pencil in a quick scene where they run in and grab him out of the cafeteria and just take off with him. Okay, there, got it, no problem. Like, I mean, what was the point? It's just stupid. I guess they couldn't figure out a way to fit George in. He was just an afterthought. They also showed him very briefly earlier in the episode sitting in the cafeteria too. Pointless. But anyway. Lucky for him, though, he didn't have to get all covered in dust like they did. So I guess there's that. The actor could just stay nice and clean for these scenes. And they all run away and get out of the building before it collapses. So anyway, they stand there and watch. And they have to get out of the way before the whole thing crumbles on top of them too. Stackhouse is kind of boxed in. He sees a crack in front of him, then he sees a crack form behind him, and he just, in a very satisfying scene, falls down and is crumbled. I'm pretty sure he's dead. His body is crumpled there. It looks pretty dead to me. He's dead.
I don't know. He could walk that off, right?
I doubt it.
Soak his legs in some Epsom salt. No?
I doubt it. He's dead. He's done.
He dead.
He dead. Yeah. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Stackhouse, more like Flophouse. Ah!
Yeah. Bye, Felicia. And then Sigsbee, unfortunately, she manages to escape that fate. She sees, I don't know how she actually gets out of the building, because she sees her whole office crumbling around her. And then the next we see her, she's escaped already at the end. How did she get out? How the hell did she do it?
Plot armor.
Plot armor. Exactly. She was not even on the ground floor. This is a tall building. So anyway. So yeah, Luke concentrates really hard, along with probably the kids all around the world, in a really awesome scene. And he's reminiscing. He's, in order to harness his powers, he's trying to dredge up all the anger he can, because he knows that he's figured out by now that strong emotions trigger his telepathic and telekinetic abilities. So he remembers Sigsbee telling him that, you know, what happens here, if he doesn't follow the rules, there are grown-up consequences. And he's remembering Hendrix saying, keep looking at the screen. If you look away once, Tony will slap you. And he remembers being slapped. If you look away a second time, he'll shock you. Then he remembers being shocked with the fucking cattle prod. And he remembers his dad saying, referencing the Nietzsche quote, you know what they say about the abyss, right? And, you know, you look into it, it looks right back into you. And of course, his parents were killed by the Institute Snatch team. So that's really going to generate some powerful emotion, thinking about that. And he's got to remember that, you know, this darkness could consume him. That quote is all about, you know, if you're in close proximity to darkness, that could, you know, wind up consuming you. And Luke is in close proximity to darkness here, that's for sure. So you can't let it become part of you. And then he remembers Avery saying, thanks for being my friends. I loved having friends. So all of that emotion helps him channel his telekinetic abilities and harness that along with the kids around the world, to make the building freaking levitate. The whole building. Really amazing scene. You can hear the hum in the background. All the kids around the world joining hands. This was so cool the way this was done. You see one shot after the next where they're all holding hands in different branches. And Avery connecting to the hum along with everyone else. I still don't buy that Avery had to stay. Why did Avery have to stay in there to do this? Luke was able to go do this outside. I still don't understand it. He had to stay there to be close to the Gort kids. Why? The kids around the world don't have to be near them. The kids around the world are helping to do this. I don't know. That's just me. And that's not just my sour grapes because I loved Avery. I don't think it makes logical sense. But be that as it may, they make the building levitate, which they showed in the trailer for this whole series. And they really shouldn't have, because this is one of the coolest moments that they've shown, possibly the coolest.
There went my alien theory.
Yeah, it was a good theory, but yeah, sadly it didn't.
Not.
Sadly, it didn't come to fruition. But I would have loved it. I would have liked it a lot better. It would have been more original and less predictable than what we got. And this show has given way too many spoilers early in the opening credits and the trailer. why would they show this in the trailer? But they did, and there it is. It looks awesome. It looks really cool.
Well, the thing is, they showed right there. It's the cops. It's her jacket. You could figure out that he was somehow had her jacket and would be teamed up with her by the end.
That
Because
was
you saw that in the trailer.
That was in the trailer.
You can see
Oh,
her
wow.
last name and the W on the front of his jacket from the very first trailer.
I didn't know that. Oh my
From the very
god.
beginning.
That's even worse. What the hell? Yeah. So you could, if you watched the trailer again as the season went on, you would have seen that.
You would have known that somehow she's gonna be involved at the end.
Another spoiler they shouldn't have put in the trailer. Stupid. They also shouldn't have put the recovery room in the trailer with all the kids in beds. What the hell? That was stupid. That was a huge reveal that they put in the opening credits. And that's why I had it pegged that room was going to be full of kids in beds in a coma-like state, and that they weren't really going home. And yeah, anyway. So then Tim gets the better of the guards and demands their keys. And then, we finally have the reveal of our mystery man who represents upstairs, the people in charge, the people running the place. Personally, I think this was a weird reveal, and I don't really get what the point was of hiding his face. We see who's watching. It's the guy who plays the pilot on Lost. He played the pilot. I don't remember his name, but
the actor's name or the character's name?
The character on Lost.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
What's the actor's name?
Jeff Fahey.
Jeff Fahey.
He's also Lawnmower Man, guys. If anyone remembers that. If anyone's as old as I am.
Yeah. So here he is. Here's the reveal. And why did they hide him? I mean, I don't really understand why they hid his face. We hear some children laughing in the background. He says, I need a burn team, full clean. So that means that they need, he's seeing the Institute completely falling apart on the screen, and he needs them to completely come in. He needs some people to come in and just get rid of all the evidence. Just clean house and just completely hide as much as possible so that the world won't find out what they're doing. So he doesn't even look that upset, though. I would think he'd be a little more upset that his freaking building at this site just levitated and the kids around the world just united their powers to take this site down. Shouldn't he be a little more worked up? I don't really get that. Nothing like this has ever happened before. He should kind of be a little more agitated, if you ask me. But instead, he just says he needs a burn team, and then he goes out and he plays with his grandchildren. So the big reveal is that he has grandchildren. I don't really get it. I feel like since they hid his face like that, it should have been a much more interesting reveal than, oh, he has grandchildren. There was no need to hide his face just for that. I don't get it. I'm sorry I keep saying that over and over about different things in this finale, but I don't get some of the choices that they made. I truly don't. In terms of the writing. Yeah, there are the kids, and okay, so he's a hypocrite who kills kids even though he has grandchildren who he loves. Yeah, and I was expecting something a little more exciting or creative. There was no need to hide his face for that. But anyway, then we have Luke and his friends here. And they're really, they're sad about having to leave Avery behind. And Kalisha says that he would have been gorked. And what he did, maybe he thought he was better off. So I don't know. I don't get it. I still don't understand that logic. He would have been gorked, and what he did, maybe he thought he was better off, but he could have gotten out like them. Why would he have been gorked? I don't know. I just don't understand the logic of it personally. Why he needed to stay there. They said it would have stripped him. Okay. Then they're like, okay, now what? Now what? And they're asking Luke. And he says that, now Tim will help them. And there's Tim, and I predict Tim will be a father figure to Luke. It seems like they're laying the groundwork for that now. Tim has already really shown affection for Luke before. When he found out that Luke's parents were killed, he hugged him, and now he's hugging him again and connecting with him on a deep emotional level. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tim even adopts Luke now that Luke is an orphan. And so I could see that happening in season 2. Luke is going to need a parental figure, and Tim has this need to make up for having had to unfortunately kill a 16-year-old who was about to shoot up a mall. So anyway, so Luke introduces Tim to his friends, and he introduces them to Wendy, and so now they're just trying to figure out what they do next. Tim says, we got to get out of here before their reinforcements arrive, and they head out.
They're heading to Disney World.
No, they're going to Disney World. Yeah, he just levitated the Institute. How are you gonna go? Now, what are you gonna do next? I'm going to Disney World.
You've just been named MVP of levitating shit. What are you gonna do? I'm going to Disneyland and or Disney World.
Yeah. So Luke's wondering where they're gonna go next, and Tim says, "Don't worry about it. I got a plan." And Luke says, "No, you don't." He's like, "Hey, get out of my head."
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. This is gonna be funny. Like, imagine if he really adopts Luke, because Luke has no parents. Imagine having a teenage son who can read your mind. This would be a parent's worst nightmare. God, yeah.
He's like, Luke, trust me. Step into the closet. I was like, whoa. We're going to Narnia.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to get really annoying being around these kids who can read their thoughts. Yeah, and then we see Sigsbee got away. Somehow she got out of the building while it was crumbling around her, and she's hitchhiking out of town.
I'm sure that wasn't an added shot, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That was in the script from day one?
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah. Yeah, they got the renewal for season 2, and they're like, oh, shit, we need to make sure Sigsbee survives. So we can't have all of them die. So, okay, how can we do this? Oh, somehow she got out. They'll connect the dots. Now she's just hitchhiking, and she got away. It's a miracle. And she's got the flash drive, which means that the secrets of the Institute are still safe. That's the flash drive Maureen recorded, showing what the Institute does to kids. So the Institute's secrets remain safe for now. Dun, dun, dun. She's got away with the smoking gun evidence. And thus we now have a season 2. Season 2 has been confirmed, and that's the end of that. So let me check back in with the chat before I wrap things up. I said I was going to try to keep this to 2 hours, but see, I'm almost at 2 hours, 45 minutes. But for me, that's not actually so bad.
In Julie time, 3 hours is 2 hours.
Yes, it is. I'm doing pretty well considering. Well, I'm going to check in with you guys and wrap it up, though. And it's not my old kind of hour-long wrap-up anymore.
Hour? Like 3 hour wrap ups with you.
It was often like a 3 hour wrap-up. Yeah, it was. But those days are done now. I need to take better care of myself and have a life, a 3-dimensional life outside of screens. So I'm trying to be a little more reasonable with the live links. Ledger Buncher says, "Oh, Julie, did you move?" I am literally moving from Pacific time to Central time at the moment. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't moved yet, but I'm going to be moving in a few months. So I'll be moving from East Coast time to Central time in a few months. And right now, I'm just temporarily here. So, it's going to be a big change for me. A change for the better in every way. Scott dropped the link to to Doc's channel. Thank you for doing that, Scott. Make sure you subscribe to Doc's channel, and Doc's going to be starting a channel with Critter as well. So as soon as that gets going, let us know so that we can help you spread the word about that too, and try to get some people to subscribe to you and your awesome friend Critter. And Scott also dropped a link to Mr. Grant Gregory AI's channel. He is the kind friend, our friend down under, who made my amazing intro and outro as well. I use it for both. I love it so much. So check out his channel. He does lives Eastern time. It's US time. It's Saturday morning, but he's in Australia, so for him it's more like Saturday evening. I believe they do that every week, and it's a lot of fun. He's so funny, and he and his friends do a live, I think, every week. And he also does a lot of really clever AI content as well. Please hit the like. Yes, please do hit the like. It really does help people find the stream. Real Cinema says trauma causes fragmentation of the self. Indeed, it really does. Yes, absolutely. Shadow said, let's see. What did she say before that? She said, too many folks like to stick their head in the sand and pretend awful things in history and current alike never happened, as if it protects them from it. Willful ignorance. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And she said that this was like 45 minutes ago or 50 minutes ago. I need to get myself and my kids to bed. We need some sleep before our support workers arrive in the AM. I hope you all have a great night / morning. All of my loves and well wishes. Oh, that's so sweet. You are a lovely human being, and hope you get some good sleep and have a great day, you and your kids. And so glad to see you as always. What else here? Oh yeah, Real Cinema said that Sigsby is a sociopath. Yes, indeed. She sure is. Carl said that we've got 27 likes. Awesome. And Doc said they didn't technically show Avery die or a body, so there's the chance they will bring him back. Probably the Institute finds him first and puts him in a new program or experiment, and it becomes a plot point. Oh, that would be awesome. I really hope that happens, Doc, and that's a great point. That's a trope in TV and movies. If you don't see a body, they could still be alive. So you're absolutely right about that. Amy said Carl popped up like an owl. Ooh. That's funny. Doc said her and her father, he was military like her. They are or were all military in the book, which is slightly different from the show. Actually, I don't remember if her father was military in the show or book or both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's in, because she said something about my dad was in the army and he's got a doctorate or something like that. Remember when someone said something about being in the army being dumb or something like that?
Yes.
So military confirmed.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that somebody disparaged the intelligence of people in the military.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Really ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that her father's the military and he's got a doctorate or something. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that was a picture of her father young in a military uniform and her as a child. Scott says, so much evil. Yes, 100%. Little Neospore and fix him up. Yeah, I think they need a little more than that.
For Stackhouse? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, the Epsom salt, too.
Yes. Doc said, oh, I remember that movie. And Amy said, also, I remember that movie, Carl. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic. Which movie was that?
The Lawnmower Man.
Oh, what is it?
The Lawnmower Man.
Never heard of it. Okay.
No, I told you about this once before. When Jeff Fahey came out.
Oh.
The CGI is a little but the concept is pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Basically, just real quick, Jeff Fahey is kind of just kind of a sort of probably like a slow guy. They would have said back then, special needs kind of person.
Yeah.
And he makes money like mowing the lawn and stuff like that. And Pierce Brosnan is some kind of scientist who came up with, I forget what the technique is, but an ability to increase someone's intelligence through technology.
Oh.
So thus the Lawnmower Man is the Jeff Fahey character.
Interesting.
And then some interesting bad things start to happen. Dun, dun, dun. Tune in next week when Julie...
Really interesting concept.
Yeah. He becomes super intelligent, not just kind of intelligent.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, yeah. Scott had said, got to get some sleep drifting off. Sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, Scott. I appreciate the fact that you stayed this long at such an ungodly hour. So don't be sorry in the least. Actually, I'm about to wrap up. Anyway, so thank you so much for all your support, being an amazing mod. I can't thank you enough for that, Scott. And showing up and staying, even though we're here in the middle of the night. Thank you for that.
Scotty too hottie.
Yeah, Scott is awesome. And I still have to thank Zax for bringing Scott to us through one of his raids. That's how Scott found us in the first place. No, I haven't forgotten that. Scott had said, thanks, Julie, Pandecolima, mods, and chat. Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Yes. Amy's having I think Amy's heading out too. Well, so are we. So I'll be right behind you. And Trace just showed up. I feel bad. Sorry, Trace. Trace said, how's everyone doing? Don't go to sleep yet.
He was here a little earlier.
No, he was?
He poked in, yeah. Ooh, that was Trace. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. No. Well, unfortunately, we do have to head out in a minute, or a few minutes. Amy said, I can't sleep, but I have an appointment early 9 a.m. Oh, gosh. Yeah, you don't have much time to get some sleep. But yeah, I know the feeling. I've had issues with sleep, too. I've had insomnia. It's no joke. Trace said, I don't know if you guys discussed it, but I think Avery and the other kids survived the building being destroyed. Actually, we Doc mentioned it just a few minutes ago that we didn't see Avery's body, so he could be alive, and they could make this a plot point. They could move Avery to another location, and then they could the other, our people, Tim and his gang could have to try to find him, or find out he's alive and then get him back. So that would be great. I really hope he's still alive. At the very least, I hope Avery survived. It's not that I don't care about the other kids, but we don't know them. We don't know them except for Iris. We don't know the other kids. So I just want Avery to be alive. He was my favorite character. I thought he was hilarious. The way that he would just spill the tea on everyone's secrets. That was awesome. It was so funny when he showed up and he started revealing who likes who doesn't like who, and whom, that is. And just doing it with such a deadpan delivery was great. Yeah, he's a great little actor as well. Who dos tres cuatro. Yes. Amy, he was saying, Amy, how you haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, I hope you're feeling better too, Amy, and just hanging in there in life. Trace says to Pandecolima, that song from Migos is fire. Scotty Jihadi.
Yeah.
Is that what you were referencing?
Not specifically in that moment. I also was referencing Austin Powers.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Say I wouldn't know either reference. I don't know the song.
Scott Evil.
I don't know the song, and I haven't seen Austin Powers.
Yeah, I think the Migos got their wrist twisted like stir fry. Let's see if anyone gets that reference. Got me in the kitchen with my wrist twisted like stir fry. That's I think that's Migos. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
Like stir fry.
Yeah. I'll have to look up the song. Amy says she's feeling a little bit better, still have the sinus infection. Oh, well, I hope that clears up soon. That's so fun. I've had a lot of those myself. I thought I was getting sick a couple days ago. I thought I was getting a cold. Then I took some Zicam, and I've felt better ever since. So fingers crossed, but I hope you keep feeling better, Amy. And Trace, thank you. I have been feeling better, actually. My pain, I still have really brutal days where my pain is just horrible and nothing at all helps all day and night. But I've had a lot of days where my pain has been much more managed, and I've had more quality of life and able to enjoy life more than I have in several years. So I am feeling a lot better. So thank you for asking, and I appreciate the consideration. I really do. I know I've been away a bit, just kind of practicing self-care and experiencing a little more of life outside of YouTube and outside of screens, which has been really healthy for me. But I'm not going anywhere. It's been a temporary break. Last week I took a week off. And this week we're not going to be doing a lot of lives. In fact, the next live is going to be most likely, now don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% yet, but
drum roll, guys.
But I'm the next live is going to be on Alien Earth, and I'm looking at doing it on Thursday night, but that could change. I could wind up moving it to Friday. Depends on how much time it takes me to prepare. I'm not going to be able to break down episodes 1 through 5 in detail like I normally would do, because they're 5 episodes and it would take me like I don't know, the entire day and night to break it all down. But we're going to just do an overview where we're going to talk about what's happened on Alien Earth so far, episodes 1 through 5, and and just, try to catch up as best we can. And then starting next week, we'll just break down one episode at a time until Alien Earth ends. So that's the plan. And it's going to start probably at, I would say 11:30 Eastern time, most likely on Thursday. But that's, again, subject to change. Please turn on your notifications if you haven't already. And that way you'll know when I actually go live. It may turn out to be Friday or even Saturday instead. So stay tuned. And yeah, I think I'm really enjoying the show so far. So I'm gonna have a good time covering it with Carl, I'm sure. Even though we're getting a late start and we have to catch up. So yeah, that's gonna be the next live on the schedule. And other than that, I'm still taking a break from other channel activities like making videos, just for the time being. Next week, we're going to do another Alien Earth live discussing the next episode, which will drop next week. So probably next Thursday, we'll do a live on episode 6 of Alien Earth. And when the new episodes drop, we're going to be streaming them in Discord on Tuesday nights. So join the Discord if you haven't already, if you'd like to join the watch party. The link to my Discord is in the description of this video. And I believe the episodes drop at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights. So we're going to stream them in there for the rest of the season and, just do a little watch party. And then discuss the episode on Thursday nights. Starting next week, we'll break down each episode for the remainder of the season. And then in October, whenever Welcome to Derry finally comes out, we're going to cover Welcome to Derry, which is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to do that one. I've been waiting over a year for that since I found out it was coming. So that'll be really fun, I'm sure. In November, by the end of November, Stranger Things will come out. We're going to be covering that. So lots of fun, exciting stuff on the horizon. And of course, we're going to be getting back to FROMacademy soon. We haven't forgotten that. And also, we will eventually get back to the From rewatch that we paused a few months ago. Haven't forgotten any of that stuff, and we are going to still do it. And once I get back from my trip, the week of September 15th, I'm going to get back to more frequent live streams. So it'll go back to a 3 live stream per week schedule. We'll have FROMacademy Fridays. We'll do a live on whatever show we're covering at that time, whether it's Alien Earth or something else. And we'll do a live where we're either talking From theories or doing the From rewatch or story time with Doug Hughes. And that's going to be a special edition for the next few lives with him, where we're going to do a book club. And anyone who wants a copy of Doug's book, if you haven't gotten it already, you can get it exclusively through the channel here. You can email me at JulieBDeepDives@gmail.com, and I will email you a PDF of Doug Hughes' book, which is a novel that fictionalizes his own life and puts an imaginative spin on it. So it's a fictionalized version of his life as a traveling actor when he was in his 20s. It's a lot of fun. It's hilarious. And we're going to do a live on the first 35 pages, most likely next week, but stay tuned for a definite date on that when we know for sure what his schedule is going to be. And you can call in and talk to Doug or leave your comments or questions in the chat and we'll discuss. It'll be a little book club for a while. So anyway, that's what we have coming up. Trace, when is the next season of From coming out? Early 2026.
You think February? Like January is too soon?
Yes.
February, March, maybe?
Probably February. I would have to guess February or March is when it's coming out. How is Alien Earth? I've been really enjoying it. I'm not caught up with it, but I would say it's great. Would you say it's fire, Carl? Trace is asking, is it fire?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a fire in space. It's hard to deal with, and no one can hear you scream in space either.
Yeah.
Just if you didn't know.
Yes. And you're welcome, Amy. Trace said, Julie, I'm going to send you a video of Unjo's Trace Quattro. Okay, yeah, send that my way in Discord. Doc said, scary, freaky-ish has happened. Says nothing. That's everything in the Alien franchise. Okay. Doc said, I'm willing to do FROMacademy this Friday at 1:30 a.m. or earlier the following Friday, whatever works best for people. Actually, 1 a.m. I can take care of the fur balls while I stream. Okay, Doc, I will hit you up in Discord and we'll figure out the FROMacademy schedule and the theme. Doc said this is also a very special and once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't even think the book is published, if I remember right, and we get to read it along with the actual author and discuss it with him. Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it, Doc. Okay, yes. Doug Hughes is an amazing author and writer, and no, the book is published. It is not published. Doug's book, The Poor Player, is not published. And we get to read it along with the actual author and discuss it with him. Yes. And the book is not published, but many great books were not published or struggled to get published until after authors pass away. It's very, very difficult to get that to get your books out there if you're an author, no matter how great you are. However, Doug has had multiple plays published and produced around the world. He's an amazing writer, and we get to read his book along with him for free and discuss it with him. So if you want to get in on that, email me at JulieBDeepDives@gmail.com. I'll send you a free copy courtesy of Doug and his generosity, and we'll start breaking it down and talking to him about it in our book club lives coming up. So yeah, I can't overstate how awesome that is that Doug is doing that with us. It's so cool. And so we will keep you posted on when we're going to be starting that, most likely next week on Wednesday. And Doc said Alien Earth is fire. All right. Doc said there has definitely been a fire in space in this show. People smoke and use lighters. Yeah. All right. So we just went over the 3-hour mark. It's time to call it. Thank you guys so much for being here and participating in the conversation as always. I truly appreciate you. You've changed my life in ways you have no idea. I can't even begin to tell you. Literally, I can't even begin to tell you all the ways you have completely changed my life by supporting this channel. It would blow your minds. So I appreciate you all. Even if I disappear for a while, please know I haven't forgotten you, and I will be back. And I may not be doing 8-hour lives anymore, but I'm not going anywhere. I will be resuming 3 lives a week soon, and it'll just be a little more managed in terms of how long I do it. It'll be more reasonable because I need to take better care of myself, and that was running me ragged, unfortunately, doing those long 8-hour lives. But I thank you guys so much. And good night, Trace. Good night to Doc. And much love to you too, Amy. Much love to you too. And everybody else in the chat. You guys are awesome. And so I will see you hopefully on the Alien Earth stream. And again, either Thursday night or Friday night. I will keep you posted via Discord announcements and YouTube community posts too. So, and then next week, we'll start doing weekly lives for that show until it ends. And of course, getting back to our story time with Doug lives and our FROMacademy Friday lives. So Have a good day or a good night, everyone, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time.
Good night.
Yeah. That's a theory creaking open, baby.
Yo, welcome to the screen where the plot gets bent. Julie B deep dives, not just for content. She don't react, she dissects those threads from the lens. Catching clues y'all missed when the credits end. What you know about freeze framing frames and while you blinking, she building an evidence drum. Got a notebook thicker than the lore itself. In a chat full of nerds with a mental health shelf. Yeah, she sees the glitch, peep the double cross. You just watching TV, she talk to the boss. Every theory a thesis, no throwaway guess. While y'all on season 1, she in season X. Said rewind it slow it, zoom in enhance. Julie B caught the symbol in the window glance. While you tweeting what just happened like a clown, she already made a flow chart, color coded breakdown.
They don't die like us, they don't vibe like us. They binge and they bounce, we revive that trust. They skip intros, we every frame. You watch shows, we decode the game. They don't die like us, nah, they don't die like us.
She cracked Severance before y'all knew it was deep. Predicted the Last of Us deaths in her sleep. When the camera pans, she ain't blinking once. Catch a ghost in the glass, call it theory punch. Watch parties lit like apocalypse nights. Call-ins while they bringing alien rights.
Hey, Julie, I think the trees are spies. Well, I have a spreadsheet that confirms that, guys.
Zoom in, boom in, she moving through clues. Spinning Discord in the courtrooms, Lord of views. Got miles of receipts. Timestamps with heat. Every rewatch turns into a Reddit elite. You stuck on the surface, we beneath with maps. Cross-referencing lore with the rector's caps. If your fave show got secrets, don't be dumb. Julie got the chalkboard out in From's where it's from.
They don't dive like us, they don't vibe like us. They skim the edge, we inside that crust. They zone out, we zone in the pain. You say plot twist, we say nope, chain. They don't dive like us, nah, they don't dive like us.
What's that?
That ain't a blooper, that's a plot thread. You thought it was a shadow? She thought it was a coded message from season 3. And she's probably right. Step this way if your mind's unbent. Step that way if your theories pay rent. Say Julie B, deep dive queen. Now zoom, scroll, theorize, pull. Ain't no rabbit hole safe once she got the clout.
They don't